It's time for Show Me the Franchise.
With Thomas and Frederick. With Thomas and Frederick.
It's time for Show Me the Franchise.
With Thomas and Frederick. With Thomas and Frederick.
Welcome to Show Me the Franchise, the podcast that talks about franchises of all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, genres, and types. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Stadler, here as usual with the inventor of time travel. He is your density, Dr. Fred Dakin.
Thanks, Rick. Right? That's what we're talking about? We're talking about Rick and Morty?
Maybe we're zagging a little bit, but, I mean, Rick and Morty, obviously a nod to our franchise today.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, Rick, I don't know.
That's what I wanted. I wanted a little bit of that.
I'm not a Rick and Morty impersonator, so to speak. So I'm just doing my best here.
You did well.
Jeez, Rick, I don't know if I feel comfortable. Which is like, it is a very bastardized version of Michael J. Fox.
Pretty much, yeah. And, if you weren't happy with it, you could always go back in time and fix it. Then, might have a separate timeline or something bad might happen. Your porch might fall apart or something.
Yeah, too late for that. Yeah, there is active construction going on in the front of the stude right now, which made everything a little interesting in getting in, and it made an interesting entryway for you and our guest today. But of course, we are talking about the topic Back to the Future, hence all these Back to the Future references. But joining us once again, returning to the show, is Mike Schwantz. Mike, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me back to the franchise.
Yeah, thanks, sir. But not.
Sort of your Back to the Future 3.
Yeah, this is my trilogy.
Oh.
Mhm.
The first trilogy to kind of film them in succession, right? Did any other ones do that?
Well,
Lord of the Rings.
I thought it was 1 with a gap, and then 2 and 3 are like back to back, right?
So the first one at the end, it was to be continued was a joke.
Right.
There was no intention of making a sequel, and then they did film 2 and 3 back to back, which saved them a buttload of money, like a buttload. Which is maybe where Lord of the Rings got the idea.
Right. That's what actually I was kind of referring to is like, was this the first instance of a trilogy that filmed any installments in succession? Because Godfather didn't do that with 2 and 3. Obviously, that was years apart.
And maybe Star Wars. They might have done Jedi right after Empire.
But it wasn't like the same like production cycle, right? Because they were 3 years apart.
Different directors.
Yeah. I'm like, what were other famous trilogies before then? I mean, Bond movies, but like none of those were ever filmed
Back to back.
No.
No. It could be it.
I think this was the first to kind of put it in vogue, and for the reasons that Mike just stated, to save money. Back to the Future, though, quite the franchise. I would say it's a quite popular one.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
But I guess, Mike, the question is, what is your experience with Back to the Future? Why did this call to you?
So the way I got into Back to the Future was, okay, so when my brother and I were younger, for like Christmas or whatever, we would get like, for Christmas, my dad would always, he was the one to get us, he's the one who got me into movies. He liked to get like series of movies. So we had this one and that one and this one, so we could watch them in succession, But I really didn't get into Back to the Future until my uncle got me into it. I would go up north with him often, and it's a shame that like I associate a lot of my movie references to him because I don't really talk to him no more for whatever reason. But we'd go up north and we'd watch like the same movies. It was Back to the Futures, it was Toy Story, Shrek, Ice Age, Team America, Full Metal Jacket, RoboCop, and I don't know if you've ever seen this one, but it was called Zardoz. You ever see Zardoz? It's Sean Connery. It's like mid-70s. It is a weird movie.
Yeah, Sean Connery in a thong.
I was just gonna say that's like the still frame of him, like the long red thong, the Borat, like suit. Yeah.
It's so strange. It's worth a watch.
And referenced in Rick and Morty as well.
That's right. I think I've not caught the newest season of Rick and Morty.
I
Rick and
haven't.
Morty in Zardoz? I don't recall that.
I haven't
scene.
watched Rick and Morty in a while, but it has like the floating heads from Zardoz.
Zardoz, yes. Gotcha.
I know Dan Harmon was like, especially on Harmontown, would obsess about Zardoz and talk about it all the time.
It's a movie that I think has just sort of a hole in my lexicon of movies, other than just knowing that still frame of him like on the beach with like the gun in his hand.
Yep.
And is it like a space pistol too, or is it like a real gun?
I mean, I think it takes place in the future, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're real guns, but there might be some weird attachments. I just know a floating head shows up out of nowhere and vomits guns out, and then they're like, "Go shoot." That's all I remember from it.
I feel like Sean Connery got into a point in like the 80s and in the 80s and 70s where he just wanted to be on the beach for like all of his shoots. Like even in Highlander, I feel like they're by the water all the time.
Well, I just never got that. He did Zardoz, but then when it came to The Matrix or Lord of the Rings, he was like, I don't understand these. I don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
And then Zardoz was clear, though. You got that, right?
But then League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he's like, oh, this could be cool.
That's why he didn't do a story gentleman, because he's like, I passed on Matrix, I'm not going to pass another movie I don't understand.
Yep, that is the truth.
God, that's terrible. But then Highlander, he's in Highlander too, and that's a weird movie. But guys, hear who's going to play Ramirez now in the new one?
Yeah, Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Interesting choice.
I think he'll be fine or whatever, but is he gonna get like back into shape or like because you brought up Highlander and you used a GIF and it made me think a better casting would have been Denzel Washington.
Oh, in that role?
Because picture him in like, did you ever see when he did the Shakespeare movie?
Oh, Macbeth.
No, he did do that one, but he did the comedy.
Much Ado About Nothing.
Much Ado About Nothing. He's kind of like an Errol Flynn type.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the vibe, but like old.
Yeah. Which I think even Denzel needs to get in shape a little bit. We're getting off the track here.
No. Hey, we can always go back.
We can always go back to the thread at large. So okay, so you're watching these movies at your uncle's house then.
At the cabin, but yeah.
At the cabin.
But that's, he was he's a person of habit, and so like the same movie. So we go up there and like we'll watch this movie, then we'll watch this movie, then we'll watch this movie, and especially because he's one to rewatch movies. Watching the trilogy of Back to the Future, it hits all those notes, because in the first movie, I mean, every scene that you see is replayed. There's always a callback somewhere.
Yep.
Like there's everything pays off. There's very little loose hanging threads.
I mean, well, we can get into that a little bit. Some of the theories and stuff out there of the hanging threads that were left. But I do know what you mean, though. I think in a way it does sort of more the successful like callbacks that like Austin Powers tried, and sometimes it got very tiresome by like Goldmember, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't need another scene where people are behind shadows or something like that, like making provocative. But that was funny in Naked Gun.
I was about to say, like, it's still good.
Yeah.
Have you all seen the new one yet?
Yes.
I
have
haven't.
not.
Okay. There is a homage to that type of scene where
I've heard nothing but good reviews. And that's crazy to me, But I think again, we're getting sidetracked here. Let's focus.
That's a trilogy. Or is there
This is the
four?
fourth one. Well, and then there's a TV series too. So
Hey, there's a TV series of Back to the Future.
it's true.
yeah,
I mean, we don't talk about that one. I will talk a little about the animated series at some point, though, which I didn't write a lot of notes about, but I do remember watching as a kid.
I checked it out here and there, but nothing stuck in my mind about that.
But it does kind of hit, though. I think you're right. It's like, it's very like, I don't want to call it like poetic, but like there is sort of like certain, like it does flow, like it hits like very certain beats, and it knows how to call it back. It's very just a well written series, and obviously 2 and 3 have everybody's like critics on those, but I don't know.
Yeah, they can go suck a lemon. That's what I'd say to them.
I mean, what was your experience with Back to the Future?
It was like one of those things where I had similarly like a dad who like that our thing was watching movies. My mom would travel a lot, so it was a lot of like weeknight pizza nights. And I remember like it being kind of thrust upon me very casually. Something that I'm thinking about, like if I had kids, like I'm gonna probably put too much like spit on the ball when I give them a movie like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But this was one I was like, oh, you should watch this. We'll watch this. And then like finding out like, oh, there's 2 more. And then like it was something that I was always renting, and I would even just rent like 2. I would just rent 3 or, you know, rent 1. I think 2 and 3 for me as a younger person, I kind of gravitated to more.
Oh, sure.
I think just because there was like more weirdness going on.
Sure.
1 is definitely like, I think everyone agrees is like the best and kind of like a seamless, tight film.
It's like arguably a perfect movie.
Right.
I
Yeah.
consider it a perfect movie. I really do.
For sure. But I felt when I was younger, I kind of gravitated to the sequels because I thought it was coloring outside the lines more. And as a kid, that's what you like.
Yeah.
Right.
And 2 does have a lot more, I think, like color to it because the future is so like neon and
Right.
like so like bright. And it's definitely something that I think caught my eye too when I was a kid. And I think I always had a lot of affection for the second ones, especially because I love the hoverboards. I mean, like it's the coolest like invention.
Yeah, I always said 2 was my favorite.
Yeah.
That was the thing. And now it's kind of like, yeah, 1's the best. And that's kind of boring.
It's definitely, yeah, I don't know. It's different strokes for different folks, and it depends on when you come into the series too, I think, right? Because if you do watch it as a kid, you are going to have a little more affection for like the big train that's like speeding down the tracks, right? Or like the cowboys, and
Right.
like, or you're going to have more affection for like, yeah, the hoverboards, or like, I don't know, the flying car, right? Or flying cars.
The darkness is
Yeah.
what gets me for 2. Like as a kid, I loved how like bleak it was.
When he goes to like the new 1985.
Yes, that was just kind of like spinning the world on its head and just like very Empire.
I have this memory of 3. I think it's one of my earlier memories of 3 coming out. Like, because I remember getting like McDonald's like toys for the third one, like the train, and it was like a little like tie-in toy that you would get. Is either for that or it's for like the animated series, which I think came out like a year later. But I do remember it being like the third one being new, and there even just remember like having like family talking about like, I don't know if I like that third one. I'm not a Western fan. And I think that kind of impacted me too, though.
I was fine with it, but it is kind of one of those things, and maybe we'll talk about it. It's like the 3 kind of seemed like a free ball for what they could do, and it was interesting that they went Western, but it also makes sense when you look at like the creators, the people who made it. They're like, these guys grew up on Westerns. They just wanted to make a Western, you know?
And I think now that you revisit 3, it's definitely has the most it's the most self-enclosed of the series.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like where
Definitely.
you don't necessarily, weirdly, you don't need the other 2 necessarily to inform you. You just go, they are stuck in the past. He's looking for Doc, and he finds them, and they need to find a way to get back. It's the same exact plot. Like you said, it's rhythmic in that way, right?
Yeah.
It just continues to echo through each installment.
And yes, there's differences. Like obviously Clara, like there's no new love interest in the first 2 movies. But I mean, if they don't hit those notes, it's not. You know, because I don't know if it's a what is it? A chiasmus, I think it's called. I don't know if I pronounced this right. A chiasmus. So basically, Back to the Future trilogy, it starts and ends the same way. There's a point in the middle of the second movie where it pivots. So it goes up to a certain point and then it mirrors itself. So, for example, the opening scene in the Back to the Future is the explosion with like the amp, right? And like the last big scene is the explosion with the DeLorean and the train. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I can name a whole bunch of references, and
It's now not that word. Now it's Tenet.
yeah, yes, but that's exactly what it is. Like 100%.
And when they go back in time, it's called a pincer movement.
No, it's not.
Speaking of Denzel, that's his baby boy in that movie, Tenet.
Is it?
Yeah, John David Washington.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Oh, just look at him again and watch him talk. It's there. It's there.
If you close your eyes and listen to John David Washington talk, it's Denzel, like circa 1994.
Okay, all right.
I definitely Yeah, that's a really good point, though. I guess I definitely always notice, like, okay, the ways that it would foreshadow itself or kind of echo itself. And I think you pick up on so much more in 2 now, like foreshadowing into where they end up going into
Mhm.
3, right? And it's an interesting thing, but yeah, I think there's even parallels to just the way that 1985 turns out. It kind of constantly gets transformed
Mhm.
throughout the series until we get it to the original state, which isn't really even the original state, though,
No.
right? Because it's like she still gets back to the point where his like dad's like stinking rich and all that. So
He does all this, and his family becomes a bunch of yuppies.
yeah,
Yeah, which never made sense to me because he's got all this money, but they still live in the same place and they still had the same kids and they still live at home, even though Dave goes to the office now.
yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
They're still young. Still getting on his feet. Even 1985, kids had to come home after high school if they didn't go to college or whatever it is before they can afford their own place. It's California, too. I'm sure it was still expensive. Those are the Reagan years back then.
I would kill to have that house.
It is a nice house. But speaking of 1985, I think we have to go back to the start of the production and understand how we even got into this, right? So, longtime collaborators, which now I think this is in the context of the way this was written, Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis conceived Back to the Future in 1980. They wanted to develop a film about time travel, but struggled to create a satisfying narrative. And were desperate for a successful project after the critical and commercial failure of some recent efforts they were involved with, specifically 1941, which was directed by Steven Spielberg, who they were very closely tied with. So, following the release of their most recent movie, Used Cars, you guys seen Used Cars?
It's a good movie.
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it.
I've never seen it. It is good.
Yeah, it's got some of the juice. It's kind of like you see it a little bit. All the stuff's there, the stuff paying off. They also had that movie that's like a bunch of people trying to go to a Beatles concert or something like that. Hard Days. It's not Hard Days Night, but it's based off a Beatles song.
Sure. Oh yeah, I think I know what you're saying. I think I've heard of that movie, but I've never seen it because A Hard Day's Night is
That's actually a Beatles.
that is
movie.
a Beatles movie. Yeah, same with Yellow Submarine.
But
that's-
both those early Zemeckis movies I like a lot just because it is all there.
yeah, and I think you do see this is sort of where Bob Zemeckis becomes Bob Zemeckis in this series, right? Like the Bobs, which always makes me think of Office Space. I keep saying that out loud. But I guess Bob Gale visited his parents after the Used Cars came out in 1980 and came across his father's high school yearbook, kind of wondering to himself if him and his father would have been friends had they attended the same school together. And he was like, I don't know if I would, but this is a really interesting idea for a movie. And he's like, I could write something that what would happen if I traveled back to the high school when I was 18 and met
Hit on my
father.
mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, that's what I was going to say. You said there's no romance in the first one. There's a romance. It's just not one that you want.
Like, why did that have to be part of it? I'm sorry, but like, it could have been fine if,
Because it creates tension.
is that the type of tension you want in a movie? Is that like who pitches like, hey, yeah, so this guy goes back in time and his mom's gonna have the hats for him, and it's like, okay, what? Okay, chill out, Oedipus here, like.
maybe that's what they thought. They're like, this goes back to like classic literature. Come on now.
Very Oedipus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're one of the first few dinosaurs.
Oedipus Rex?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun. We're having fun.
You mother.
Bob Gale shared his idea with Robert Zemeckis, who also recalled his mother's childhood stories that were often contradictory and always kind of wondered himself about whether his mom was always telling it like it was. Because it's like your parents are never going to represent who they were.
Right.
Which I do kind of want to dig into this because I sort of felt a little intrigued by this movie because obviously I was born a decade later than like Marty, and my parents were born a decade later than his parents. But I did always think about that like date, like, and that date range and that age range. And I'm like, this would be so interesting to have gone back to like the 1960s if I were you know, a child in the 90s or 2000s or the 70s, I should say. That's when they were in high school. You guys ever have that like thought process?
Definitely.
It'd just be like dazed and confused going back to your parents' timeline.
It's literally the year that I think my dad graduated. It was like summer 1976. So.
Sweet emotion.
I even dropped a GIF in our group chat today. It was of Rory McIlroy. What's
He's got a weird last name.
McCochran or something?
McCochran, yeah.
He's like, "You cool, man."
The stoner and dazed and confused with the long hair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like the real.
No, that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He's got like the newsy hat on all the time, and
Got you.
Yeah, and like Mitchell shows up, and he's like, "You cool, man," and Mitchell being the kid that's getting hazed by Ben Affleck.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a much different movie though. If you had Marty, someone in 2005, going back to 1975, and
Oh yeah.
just the vibes are very, very different. I think because you go from like emo culture to like like hair rock.
Hey, this reboot's not sounding bad. They go back in one of those like Tesla things.
Oh my god. Cyber
No.
when it breaks. No.
I mean, I'm just saying it's the vehicle that looks like it could go back in time. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that is the reason they picked the DeLorean, because it was the most futuristic looking car if you went back in time. That pays off for that whole spaceman from Pluto, which, by the way, was proposed in quotes as the original title.
Correct.
Yeah, I can't remember who pitched. Somebody pitched a name to it. You might have the actual details.
Yes. That would be his name is Sidney Scheinman, I believe, who was the lead producer at Amblin Films at the time. So, well, I mean, obviously it's like Spielberg's company, but like that was the executive producer on Back to the Future. So, yeah, I think the story goes though that Sidney Sheinberg was his name, and he pitched that, and I think Spielberg wrote him a letter being like, we all had a good laugh at that proposal. Good one. Good one.
Oh no, actually, I was serious. Yeah, no one would come back from that. Like, you would never be able to come back from that.
Yeah.
That's a pro move though, like sending someone like a thing like that thing you said was very funny. You know, just like leaving it at that, where you put them in the awkward position where it's like, okay, I'm hearing you loud and clear, and you kind of saved my like dignity a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny because like the more you read in like this history, and I'm not going to read every single beat. I already promised you guys I wouldn't, but you do get this sense that like the Bobs were still sort of like green around the horns, and they weren't really sure how to play like the politics of like Hollywood. So they were leaning on Spielberg, who, you know, was obviously coming off Close Encounters, Jaws. I mean, 1941, not so great, but he still was Steven Spielberg, right? So he was like, he kind of knew how to work like executives and sort of how to work the process and could be sort of their mouthpiece if they got into a jam and just be like, no. Like he was a huge believer in this project. Spielberg was like, I want this to go forward. I don't want any more involvement than I need to be involved.
This is after E.T., so he's got the clout.
Yeah. Is it after? I thought
Hey, E.T.'s like 82, 83.
That sounds about right.
So, yeah, which is like midst of the process because we're still 1980 when this first started.
Yeah.
But yeah, around that time that Scheinberg started pitching them stuff, I think E.T. was like just hitting theaters. So by that point, he's becoming old Stevie Spielberg. So they had sketched out and acted each scene to help develop the dialogue and the actions throughout the script, which sounds like he just sort of like improvising and like writing down whatever you come up with. Like, it's not a bad way to write a movie, I guess, right?
That's how I write my sketches.
Is that right? Sort of act
It's
them
just
out.
it's just me in a room like, hey, blah, 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 hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's good.
There's like a third guy producer for it. Not bad, kid. So they ended up pitching the idea to Columbia Pictures to start, to a president named Frank Price at the time, who had liked the movie Used Cars and was keen to work with the pair. So they had believed that many time travel films focused too much on the past being immutable and wanted to show the past being altered and how it would affect the future. So, and I was trying to even think, what other time travel movies were out before this? Like The Time Machine?
Is Bill and Ted before this?
No. Bill and Ted was like 80. 88, 87
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes.
ish. Yeah.
But that's a big, like, changing things. And
But also, they don't know it's time travel until the end.
that's true.
And it's way in the future that he's going to versus this one going to the past.
Back to the Future.
Like the only thing I can think of is like, yeah, there's probably some adaptation of like the book, The Time Machine.
There is, yeah. I know there's one in the 50s. But that's the only thing I can think of. Well, what about Sound of Thunder?
I've never seen it.
But you've read it though, I'm sure, right?
I don't think
No,
so.
I've never even heard of this.
Or is that Sound of Thunder?
I was like, I know Rolling Thunder, but that's not a time travel movie.
No, Sound of Thunder it's like the butterfly effect, basically. They're able to go back in time to like hunt dinosaurs. You gotta stay on the path, and somebody like steps off and they crush a butterfly or something. And
Oh,
they go back
sure.
and they go back and everything's changed. And that's where the term butterfly effect comes from.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You know what?
Fine.
I did read some of that. I think we only read
High
a
school.
couple chapters. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember reading the whole thing. And butterfly effect's an interesting. Which I mean, that's exactly what we're describing here, right? Like you change something in the past, it impacts the future. But yeah, I think between this and like the rules of like, especially now we've had so many time travel movies ever since. Like you mentioned Bill and Ted, and you mentioned like, which is like they're very much like history does not change if we affect anything, right? Like this is just almost like how it was supposed to happen. And that's why you have them like picking up the keys in the jail cell and all this, where this rule is like anything Marty fucks around with like has some sort of effect. And I love the sight gag in it of like when he runs over the tree in the past and it goes from being Twin Pines Mall to
There's
Pine Mall.
so much of that.
Yeah.
There's so much of
Yeah.
that.
Like that's the type of shit you like don't pick up on either the first couple times you watch, especially if you're young. But then when you're older and you like notice, you're like, oh my god, that's right. It's you ran over a tree.
And especially in the second and third one, when they were filming back to back, like Bob and Bob, they were like, "Ooh, what can we put in the background? We can put this in the background. Ooh, we can put this here. We can do this, and we'll do this next time." You know,
Yeah.
like that's all those stuff. There's like a love child for them. Like they really enjoyed doing them.
Yeah, and I mean they sounded very passionate about this project. Like this was like their goal. This was their meal ticket to like making something that was going to be their own. They finished the first draft on February 21st, 1981, but the president of Columbia Pictures, Price, did not believe it was ready and needed significant refinement. So originally in the script, Marty's actions in 1955 had a more significant impact on the future, making 1985 more futuristic and 1985, right? I said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Catch me if it ever sounds
You can read it off his shirt if you.
1985. Springsteen, Madonna.
Waiting for Nirvana.
But every person who read the script took issue with the idea of like the 1985 becoming more futuristic.
Yeah, there's something I read. One of the versions was when Marty went back there. After the dance, there was like a riot, and because of that, there's no rock and roll. Rock and roll did not exist. So he goes to like 1985, and he's like, "Oh, you listen to rock and roll, right?" They're like, well, "What the hell is that? What the hell are you talking about, Marty?"
Oh man,
Marty's always trying to appropriate black culture and steal things.
he succeeds at the end of this film though.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like, he's like a sinner's vampire.
We can. I was gonna say something. But we can touch base on that later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. They also played with the idea of Marty's father becoming a boxer as a result of knocking out Biff, which is that's kind of a stretch.
Love to see Crispin Glover as a boxer. Hey, you. Listen.
And then the other idea that was scrapped was the time machine was a stationary object that was moved around on the back of a truck. So they took a lot of inspiration from like tales of legendary scientists opting to make the time machine's creator an individual instead of a faceless corporation or government entity that created the time machine. So they ended up going through about 40 different iterations of the script before they landed on whether they're going. And that was mostly because we're in 1981 right now. This thing was in kind of like development hell for 4 years. Like just couldn't get, and we'll talk a lot about why. Because I think the most interesting development is going to be how this first movie came to be. And it took time. It took a lot of politicking, a lot of push and pull, a lot of needing things to fall in the right way, with just sort of like them vouching for it and Spielberg being like, this is a good idea. We're going to get this movie done. Because, right, like we know that Columbia is not the one that distributes this movie, right? If you look at that, Steven Spielberg presents like As I'm pointing to the
I keep looking at it too because that was the exact set I used to have. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pulling it. I got a DVD box set of all three of the movies, the Back to the Future trilogy. Fred is looking at right now.
I will say in quite pristine condition.
Yeah,
I'm taking very careful.
I think I got it as a gift, but like they were streaming for so long, so I was like, I don't need to ever crack these open, and now I'm happy I have.
And when you open it up, I'm just letting everyone know who's listening. The discs have that great, like almost holographic effect on them, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm. Which I mean is good for a movie that is about the future and the past. So, I'm gonna kind of skip ahead here a little bit. Ultimately, Price, the president of Columbia Pictures, decided not to greenlight the second draft, believing it was too tame compared to the other school comedies at the time, which he's referring to like Porky's Animal House, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which, like, listen, that's not in the same boat, I think, as those other two. If you watch Fast Times again, it's a different movie. Columbia put the project into a turnaround, which, for people who don't know, is the process of allowing other studios to purchase the idea. So the script was rejected, then I mentioned, an additional 40 times, sometimes multiple times by the same studios. So Spielberg, obviously staunch supporter. They feared, that another misstep would suggest that they could not get any work to go through here without Spielberg coming and bailing them out. So they were really trying to like do this without him, so to speak, right? He was just kind of like, got you guys back, keep going, keep going. Ultimately, though, as time went on, they just weren't able to get this pushed. Robert Zemeckis directed a movie called Romancing the Stone.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Who's the girl? Who's the girl in that? Goldie? It's not Goldie, is it?
No, it's the Kathleen Turner.
Kathleen Turner.
I'm pretty sure it's Kathleen Turner.
Is it her in that?
Double check for me.
I will real quick.
Which he later, works with. And,
It is Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, and later works with in my favorite of the Zemeckis.
Top Gun?
No,
Oh, sorry. Well, she's in Top Gun, though, isn't she? Isn't that her in Top Gun?
that's not her in Top Gun.
Are you sure?
She is.
She's in Peggy Sue Got Married. Body Heat.
What's the big one? The Zemeckis one.
Romancing the Stone?
No. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
She's in who? Oh, is she?
He's Jessica Rabbit.
Oh.
No shit. I didn't know that. Look at this.
Sometimes a broken clock is right twice a day. And if it's not right, you can go back in time and fix it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Man, I didn't know that she voiced Roger. I thought for a second she was the romantic interest, but I can't remember who that is and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, because she's got the voice. She's got like the sexiest voice of the 80s.
She's got that very classic voice too.
He makes me laugh. Was that like a nod of like, hey, good Kathleen Turner? That's what I'm hoping that nod was.
Mike's looking okay with it.
It looks like towards the end you were doing a little Roger Rabbit voice.
I don't know if that
Hey, the Roger Rabbit noise. I'll
was
take
almost
it.
curly.
Yeah.
My total very quick aside, but I watched Paris Je t'aime very recently. You guys ever seen that?
No.
I think I have, but it's been forever. That's like a bunch of short films.
Short films with like all different directors. It's like all take place in Paris about different people and all this, but it's a lot of famous actors, a lot of famous directors. Alfonso Cuarón did one, the Coen brothers, Gus Van Sant.
Did Scorsese do one?
He did not. No. Also, Depardieu did one. It was like he's in it too, and you're like, ugh.
Hey, but I mean, he did have the most clout. He was the most French of the group. But
He's
still.
only has like a quick second, but the camera hovers on him. It's very telling just about the type of guy he was. But there's one sequence with Bob Hoskins in it, and he's speaking French, and just hearing him with that like Cockney accent, like fucking speaking French. He's like, oui.
Oh, oui, je m'appelle.
Hi. Just doing his like Smee accent.
I was just gonna say, whenever I think about Bob Hostas, all I think about is Shmee from Hook. That's it. That's the only thing I think about. I don't think about Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
You don't think about Mario?
Not even Mario, no.
Well, that's because he's doing his Brooklyn accent in that one. That one and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So, but we're back here a little bit earlier. Smack it.
Hey, don't derail the podcast, Tom.
Tom, you're going on this alternate tangent, and you got to get back.
Yeah,
I know.
podcast has changed since we've gone.
So what we're talking about again? We're talking about Lord of the Rings, right? Different trilogy. You can look up our other episode on that and The Hobbit. But we saw then after Zemeckis did Romancing the Stone, film outdid all the expectations, and suddenly he's got a little bit of his own clout. He just was kind of doing this movie. He's like, I need to do something. I'll take a project. I'm going to try and do my best with it. Thing was a box office smash, and suddenly they were like, okay, what do you want to do next? And he goes, well, I've got the script that I've been working on with my buddy, and we really want to make this movie. So suddenly now he's got sort of that swagger, and he's also sort of on a revenge tour here a little bit. He's like, everybody's been rejecting me. Screw this. And he was especially pretty upset at like Columbia Pictures for this. So he basically turned back to Spielberg, who had just set up his own production company, Amblin Entertainment, Universal Pictures. So Price also worked at this place. So this producer from or the president from Columbia Pictures. Spielberg also disliked Price because he had rejected the idea for E.T. and demanded involvement in the Back to the Future project on a late basis. So Spielberg was kind of like, fuck this guy. Like, I'm going to take you guys like where you need to go. And so but Spielberg also was like, I don't need to be heavily involved in this. I'm just going to be the backer on this, and you guys can play with it. So he put Sidney Sheinberg, who is our producer who came up with the Spaceman from Pluto title, as the chief executive to oversee the studio's investment in the project. Two other small executive producers joined the project, somebody named Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall.
Oh.
So, people might know those names from like Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all the famous properties that you now know. So they finally finished a third official draft in 1984. Lengthy development finally came to an end, and they had to basically update all the jokes at that point because all the references had kind of changed a little bit in 4 years since like 1980. Only one that they got to keep was jokes about Ronald Reagan being president because he got reelected in 1984. So, so then the movie started going, and I do want to at least talk about one specific casting because Michael J. Fox was the first choice for Marty McFly.
Mm-hmm.
But because of his work on Family Ties, the producers at Family Ties were very concerned that the success of the show would suffer because the other lead, Meredith Baxter, on the show was on maternity leave. So they just didn't give Michael J. Fox the script, completely withheld it from him. He had no idea that they wanted him for Back to the Future. So when they didn't hear back from Michael J. Fox and his people, they were like, I guess we'll go to our next possible group. Do we want to go through the group now, or do we want to save this for Show Me the Franchise?
There you go through it now.
All right. So the considered people are John Cusack, C. Thomas Howell, Johnny Depp, Ralph Macchio, Charlie Sheen, John Cryer, Ben Stiller, Peter DeLuise, Billy Zane, George Newbern, Robert Downey Jr., Matthew Modine, and Corey Hart.
They really had every young male actor from the 80s considered.
Basically name anybody who's not like Emilio Estevez and like Patrick Swayze, and you basically got like the 80s like murders row right
Yeah,
there.
why didn't they ask Emilio? I guess because they had one of the Estevez's already.
Sheen was the closer match.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Charlie Sheen as Marty McFly?
No.
No, absolutely not.
I'm like John Cryer. There was an earlier one I heard.
I could see John Cusack.
John Cusack.
Cusack would have had the energy as a kid.
And C. Thomas Howell, I think, would have been good too. I think he would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. He was in E.T.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been, people would have recognized him, and considering that he had worked with Spielberg already, it would have been a nice.
You can see some of these auditions. I think you can see Robert Downey Jr.'s, Matthew Modine's, Billy Zane, and
Matthew Modine too.
That was one.
Did you
of
say
them.
that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Which that tells you how young all these guys were at the time, right?
Because when's Full Metal Jacket? About the same time, right?
88,
Or a little later.
89.
A little later.
Yeah. So a few years later. But Ben Stiller is the one that kind of sticks out.
That makes sense.
That was the other one. You can see his audition too.
Really?
Yeah.
I just
I just see him as like too awkward. Although, let's be honest, Michael J. Fox was the right amount of awkward though. He had good charisma.
Mhm.
You know, he had presence.
that's the thing. Stiller was just awkward. Michael J. Fox is like awkward with charisma.
Mhm.
And Stiller has a very awkward look in the 80s, going in the 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit. He just looks. Yeah, he looks a little like underdeveloped.
like a
right?
shrunken, like a shrunken version of his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything before Happy Gilmore, I feel like it's just he like needed to grow up a little, or you know what, even better.
Ben Stiller show.
Well, Ben Stiller's show, yeah, but heavyweights, like his first foray is,
Oh, yeah.
White Goodman. That wasn't White Goodman. Tony Perkis, time to Perkisize.
But then if you would have had Ben Stiller, what would be great is like you'd have like a scene of him looking in the mirror like, Doc always wants me to do this thing. And then he's going to do like an impression of Doc, right? Isn't that the Ben Stiller thing? Like doing impressions of the
Also,
person who's annoying
If
him?
Ben Stiller's in a movie, his parents are in that movie too.
Hey,
So now let's imagine his parents as his parents.
that's good.
You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting into some
Yeah, I was just saying-
franchise territory. We gotta. But listen, getting Jerry Stiller, even as like the principal of the high school, which listen, I love the principal, but I'd be like, "You slacker!" Like it's just the delivery would be.
Or even him as Doc.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. He could carry that.
I would. I mean, it's hard though because it's like Lloyd and Fox are the people.
And that's the thing, because Christopher Lloyd, I mean, whatever Christopher Lloyd does, he does. He doesn't cut anything short,
Mhm.
you know? And like I don't know if maybe having Jerry Stiller as Doc would have been okay. Maybe. I think it's perfect as is.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really hard to put anybody else in that role.
No, their instincts were absolutely right when they were like Michael J. Fox is the right character or the right person for this character. Like we need somebody who's a little bit smarmy, who's a little bit awkward. Like you could see him as somebody getting bullied, but also kind of having some attitude. Like, and he could stand up for himself a little bit. Right?
And I think you mentioned that kind of getting bullied. I think that's one of the things that I think people gravitate towards Back to the Future for is, you know, he's not like a jerk. You know, Marty's not a jerk. He might be a little rough around the edges, you know,
Yeah.
like most teens are. But I think people can just relate to like, you know, dealing with this jerk, you know what I'm saying? And maybe everything doesn't go your way and you're a little nervous here and your parents don't, you know. I think that's one of the reasons that people really, really gravitate towards it.
Well,
They really do.
he's like he's a few pegs down from a Ferris Bueller. He's not as cool as Ferris, but he's very cool.
Yeah.
When you watch these movies for the first time, I want to be Marty McFly, even though he is awkward. He gets picked on a little, like,
And he doesn't seem to have any friends.
right, but he's got a good looking girlfriend though. That's the thing.
Yeah. And he's in a band though too, right? So he's got his
true.
bandmates,
True.
right?
The Pinheads.
Yep.
Mhm.
So this leads to the ultimate what if of this entire movie, right? And to the point where, and this is part of the production, so this has to absolutely be talked about. Sidney Sheinberg preferred one person who did not get mentioned on that list, Eric Stoltz, who had impressed Sheinberg with his portrayal in the movie Mask from
Which I've never seen.
Really?
I feel like I've seen bits. I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. What's your face?
He finds a mask and he turns green. He's like,
No.
stop me.
No. That's The Mask. Mask with Eric. Well, I can't think of her name now. Jurassic Park. What's her name?
Laura Dern.
Laura.
Yeah, Laura Dern.
Mm-hmm.
She's a blind girl in that movie.
And he's like,
She's a blonde girl in that movie.
Blind.
Oh, blind.
Blind.
You were just like, she's a blonde girl in that movie. I'm like, she's a blonde
No, yeah,
girl in
yeah.
a lot of movies.
You know the premise of it, right? You know the premise of Mask, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. I
So
know
it's based on a
nothing.
true story. Rocky Dennis, which is kind of it's a mean nickname, first of all, because he has like, is it elephantism? Is that what it is?
yeah, like
Elephantitis?
elephantitis, I think of his
And
face.
he, you know, so his, you know, abnormal growth or whatever, and she's blind, so she can't see him, and they become friends because she doesn't know, she can't judge him, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's kind of Elephant Man-ish, but like
Yeah.
more like for the 80s. Yeah.
Like John Hughes meets the Elephant Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's like, but Elephant Man was only 4 years before this one, for that movie, Mask.
Who directed that?
That would be David Lynch there, Fred.
You know what I wanted.
Probably did not watch Back to the Future. Too mainstream. I don't know. I don't know what David Lynch's opinions would have been on this movie. I bet he would have had some opinion because he loves the 50s. Like this almost kind of feels like it has some Twin Peaks vibes when he goes back to the
Oh yeah,
the
I
50s.
think there's stuff for him here.
Little uncanny valley, right? So Scheinberg though promised that if Stoltz did not work out, they could reshoot the film. That's a freaking huge like thing to be like, hey, we're gonna put the ball in your court. I really want this guy, but like this doesn't work. We can scratch. So they they started filming with Eric Stoltz. I have so many other like casting what ifs, so forgive me as I go through all this. But you may have noticed though too, I mentioned Billy Zane was a possibility for Marty.
He's a cool dude.
Obviously got cast as Match, one of Biff's henchmen.
No lines in the first movie. Also, no lines.
But great toothpick work.
Yeah,
It's a match.
Or match work, yeah.
he's just so handsome. He's just so handsome, you know. Like you may not, he may not have much to do, but Zane he was a star in the making.
I love seeing his recent clip where he's on like the Wendy Williams show, and she has that thing where they're like actors like come out of their dressing room, and they dance down the hallway, and everyone's kind of like dancing with them. His is like just a showstopper.
Is it? Is it good? I bet he's a good dancer. I wish he had more. He's a huge like what if in himself. I feel like he's had a fine career, but he's not had. He hasn't had anything like Titanic.
He's playing Marlon Brando in a new movie.
That's right. Maybe we'll get a Zane-assance coming up here. So I'm going to skip ahead to the actual production here, and I'm going to try and get us more into like the actual movie itself here. Principal photography began November 26, 1984. 14-week schedule was set to conclude on February 28, 1985. So they started filming with Stoltz. Returns, the dailies were not ideal, is basically, right? What we find. And please jump in if we have any more information.
Well, I know that he stayed in character. He did a bit of method acting. He wanted everyone to call him Marty. And the guy who plays Biff, I can't think of his name. Is
Thomas F. Wilson.
He didn't even know his name was Eric, because when they fired Eric, he's like, "Who the heck is Eric? Like, what's going on? Who?" And I guess she was getting a little too rough with him in like the physical scenes. Like Eric was like leaving marks on Biff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, I'll get him back. I'll get him back in the makeout scene," you know. But that didn't happen.
Got him back in a different way. Well, he just got fired off the movie.
Yeah.
Please inform us, Red.
Yeah. So, basically, late December, back in '84. Late December, back in '84. Zemeckis was looking at the existing scenes with some of his fellow like editors and production team, and they were reluctant to review the footage because he's like, I kind of don't think it's working with him, but I guess we need to look and see, because he already had ideas of scenes they wanted to reshoot, basically. So Zemeckis called in Bob Gale, other producers, showed them the footage. Everyone agreed Stoltz is not right for the part. So think about this, right? They started months ago, back in November, or 2 months ago. They've already got all these scenes shot with him. Like they've got like a significant portion of the movie shot here. They're supposed to finish in February. So it's half the movie probably or less. And they're like, no, we got to scrap all this, reshoot it with somebody else.
Which is wild.
Like this is like goes a level above like, oh, Sonic looks weird, we need to redesign Sonic. Right? Like this is like, no, we need to take our lead.
This is like a all the money in the world situation.
A little bit, right? Is what's his name even in that much? Costner, a lot of them. Spacey.
I think I'd never watched that movie, but I think he's in it a decent amount.
Like enough that it's a significant redo.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like, didn't they have like all of the Paddington lines filmed with like Colin Firth, like voicing Paddington? I think like that's even goes further than like Farley as Shrek. Like I think it was in the can. They were like testing it and they're like, this voice doesn't work. Like crazy. So basically Spielberg said Zemeckis needs a replacement in place before he fires Stoltz, or he risked the whole thing being canceled. So they talked to Scheinberg for permission to do whatever was necessary to get Michael J. Fox at this point. And they're like, if you think Michael J. Fox is the guy, that's your guy. You're going to go get him. I'm going to give you the resources, but he has to do it. Otherwise, this thing's in hot water. So Spielberg himself made a call to Family Ties, who then finally agreed to tell Michael J. Fox about it and admitted that they withheld the script from him. The other lead of the show had come back, and so they were like, we will give you flexibility, but you still have to be on the show. Like, this is your priority, but you can do the movie if you want to do it. And he was like, I'm doing the movie. This sounds great. So he joined the film on January 15th, 1985. He would film Family Ties during the day before going to the Back to the Future filming locations at night. Often would not return home until early the following morning. Crazy.
I know. Like, talk about burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job in this movie. Like, after a whole day of shooting a TV show, which, you guys ever watch Family Ties?
I watched it recently.
Does it hold up?
Well, it's one of those like sitcoms that have like the heartfelt vibe. So it is kind of a nice like watch. There's an episode where Tom Hanks is like a cousin who's an alcoholic, and it's kind of intense.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's one of those like where it's like a 80s or whatever show, and like it's got like a great opening theme song, and the family really loves each other. You know, it's good. It's you know.
Yeah, I have very vague memories of it.
You know, it's fine. It's you know, it's
an
fine.
80s sitcom, right?
Yeah.
Obviously not something he's going to be remembered from forever. So filming finally concluded after 107 full days, April 26, 1985. And film came out July 3rd, 1985. Budget was $19 million. How much money did it make? We're talking $1985 right now.
$100 million.
Good guess. What do you think?
Well, I know that the second weekend was bigger than the first weekend, which at that point was unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like 200,000? 200?
200 million, you mean?
Yes, not 200,000. 200,000 be well below budget.
$19 million budget. The actual retail price, $388 million. Highest grossing film of 1985 worldwide. It was a absolute smash success. Like, put Amblin on the map, put everybody involved in the movie on the map, right? Like, it was unbelievable response to it because, as we talked about, the first movie is kind of perfect film, right? Despite your logic of like time travel mechanics and all that bullshit, like that can be debated because guess what? We don't have proof that time travel exists, like, right? Like, so we can make up whatever laws we want until somebody can prove otherwise. But this movie, it works, right? Like it's got heart, it's got comedy, it's got some drama, it's got like sci-fi elements. Like it has a little bit. It's almost like the prototype of like Marvel films, right?
Yeah.
In a way. Or like what Disney ended up becoming? Maybe. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if it necessarily paved the way for Marvel. Maybe. I mean, the thing is that it's such a different movie from any other movie at the time. Because, like you said, you know, the teen comedies at the time were mainly focused on like young men trying to get girls. You know what I mean? Like you said, Porky's, Animal House, Fast Times, Dazed and Confused. Not that Dazed and Confused is about getting girls necessarily, but there's nothing really sexual in Back to the Future other than like the inferred moments. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's nothing like there's no sex scenes. I don't think anybody kisses. I think Marty and Jennifer almost kiss, or they do kiss.
He definitely kisses his mom, bro. You keep like memory holding this whole like romance, which,
well, it's a romance.
Don't call it a romance, Tom.
It's not a romance.
You kissed your mother with that mouth?
Yeah, he didn't go and touch her on her.
I have a little on the mother-son relationship. Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis attempted to take the concept of the mother-son relationship as far as possible to keep the audience on edge.
Oh, well, they were on edge. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, they believed it had to be Lorraine though who stopped the relationship, remarking that kissing Marty feels like it's kissing her brother, right? Which like answers its own questions because somebody even asked them. They go, "How does she know how to make that comparison unless she's actually done that?" And they go, "He's like, it's the only way we knew audiences would accept that they did not." Because they already knew they didn't want the relationship to happen. It doesn't matter if there was like practicality to that comment. It just is, right? But it's an uncomfortable,
Very, very uncomfortable. Every scene with them is just like, no.
But it does create dramatic tension, right? It's like, how is he going to get his mom? But like, okay, the logistics I think in my brain have always kind of been like this, right? Marty is her dad's son, or his dad's son, right? Her husband's son. So obviously he probably resembles George. And so there has to be some natural attraction if she ended up marrying George, right? Like,
well, what she says in the beginning of the movie is the reason that she fell in love with him, so to speak, is that her dad hit him with the car and she just felt so bad. And then he hit Marty with the car, and that's, the Florence Nightingale effect. We're like, oh, no, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. And I mean, without that moment, George has no in. You know what I mean? Unless she sees him peeping, through the window there. Which, when he hits him with the car, he mentions one of these damn kids jumped in front of my car again. So obviously, there's multiple people peeping on Lorraine.
yeah.
And maybe she knows about it. Maybe that's why her window's open. Because I mean, she's not as prude as she had mentioned she was. I never sat in the car.
Right.
The boy. Never called the boy. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did, ma. You whore.
But like, and I think that this is the funny thing. I think that's the inference, right? Is that we're supposed to understand, oh, Lorraine was kind of easy or whatever. But it's like, not really. Like, if you're into a guy, like, there's nothing wrong with like going to the prom with them.
She was a teenage girl living her life.
She had feelings and urges.
Yeah. But it is such an interesting proposition because so much of this movie, you're like, there's no sexual tension or anything like that. So like, well, no, not really. But it is all about romance, right? The whole gist of the movie is Marty needs to get his parents to get together in order to not undo his own existence.
Sure.
Like,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And it's a weird thing though, where the laws of this movie are like, it's all left in suspense until they get to the prom, where it's like, if they don't get together at the prom, then you're gonna disappear. It's a slow like occurs other than just like, whereas like you think about like when I was thinking about the sequel, when Biff comes back, old Biff comes back after like giving young Biff the almanac, he like disappears like right away, right? Like he doesn't even have a chance to do anything. But I guess at that point, because he's already come back and like
his existence has been erased.
Done.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna bring up a point here, Back to the Future 2. When we see old Biff in Cafe 80s, why has he reverted into original Biff? Because originally he's the jerk, right? He's a jerk bully, and then at the end of Back to the Future, he's like, "Oh, so I'm just putting on a second coat now." But then he gets older and he's back to butthead. What happened? Also, where are his parents? He lives with his grandma, and where are his children? We only see his grandson. What's going on with that? What's going on?
My interpretation is that, and I think we kind of get this sense too in the beginning of Back to the Future 2. I don't know if you guys picked up on this either. Biff is still a jerk. Like, he's afraid though of George. So whenever George is around, because George socked him, like when they were kids. So now he sort of like lives in fear a little bit of like he's at George's whim, and like even George kind of big dogs him at the end of the first one, right?
I will. Okay. So at the beginning of Back to the Future 2, when Biff sees the DeLorean take off and whatever, what the hell's going on here? That could have been the changing moment right then. Right then and there. Suspicious Biff. Suspicious.
Sabiffish.
Suspicious.
I love Thomas F. Wilson in this role. He is such a.
Honestly, it's perfect. This movie's got like perfect casting.
Mhm.
Like it really, really does.
I did get so many notes on the casting, just because name it. Who's the bad in their role in this movie?
Who's what?
Who's bad in their role?
And what's her name plays the mom. She's laying on a little thick, but other than that, she's great.
Leah Thompson?
Leah Thompson as the mom in the 80s. She's putting on a little thick.
Okay, sure. I mean,
Like as the older mom?
Yes, when she's in makeup in like the first timeline in the beginning of the movie.
Sure.
Oh, Marty.
That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
Man, Fred, you got all these like female impressions.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know though. She's so damn good as like just I don't know, as Lorraine in general, and I love her as like the fucking like kind of like trophy wife in the sequel too, and she's got like the fake boobs and stuff.
You wanted me to get these things. If you want them, you can have them.
Oh God. Filmmakers became aware of Leah Thompson while researching Eric Stoltz in the comedy drama The Wildlife, which he was also in. So as they were researching, without Eric Stoltz, we don't get Leah Thompson. So that's kind of the genesis of that. One other quick casting thing too, as we're talking about some casting here. Originally, Jennifer, which again, kind of, it's so funny that people focus in on Jennifer as a character because we barely get to spend time with Jennifer
like at all.
in this movie, right? But interestingly enough, they did have a different actress originally when Stoltz was cast to play Jennifer. It was her name is Melora Hardin, who you might know as Jan on The Office, who Michael's in love with first.
Oh, okay.
So she had a 2-film contract, but after Stoltz was replaced as Marty, the crew was pulled about her because she was taller than Michael J. Fox. And the female crew all weighed in and overwhelmingly voted that Marty should not be shorter than his girlfriend. So
This is before Short
I was
Kings.
gonna say,
yeah. So then she was replaced by Claudia Wells, who had previously declined the role because she also had a TV commitment. Kyra Sedgwick and Jill Sholden were also considered for
The
role.
closer.
The closer, yeah, I know. I was like,
oh, okay.
could almost had some early Sedge in this,
Mm-hmm.
but
Could have been Sedge and Bacon. Bacon would have been pretty good, Marty.
Yeah,
he's got Marty energy and like Footloose.
they got the same nose.
Yeah, but I do feel like Bacon though looks like he could take Biff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna like take him in a fight or also play Biff. You're saying?
Oh, I would say take him in a fight.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he would step up to him and be like, "You're not going to talk like that to me."
I think Kevin Bacon calling someone a butthead is pure cinema, though. Probably.
He does have a couple roles where he plays like. I mean, he plays a little bit of a. He's one of the guys in Animal House, right? He's part of the
Yes.
Yeah.
the shithead.
And he's
Pratt.
he's a guy in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Also gets the cab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin, Steve Martin.
Great role. God, Bacon's always willing to do some stuff. I love
I
it.
always love a little bacon on the pan.
Yeah.
Bacon sounds good.
But yeah, I mean, we haven't talked a lot about. We talked a little about Christopher Lloyd, but I mean, he was. This movie doesn't work without him and Michael J. Fox and their chemistry, right? Like, it's a buddy comedy in a way.
Oh yeah.
Which so they're buddies. Why?
I knew you were gonna ask that.
I do have. I mean, I don't know if it's ever explained. I don't think it is, but I do have a theory. Unless you want to pause and do that later.
I would just throw out my theory would be like because of Marty maybe put together the access to electronics and like being in a band, maybe seeing that as like, oh, this guy might have like what I need for my band, like tech wise.
So one of the fan theories is that Marty is Doc's lab assistant, which is why he knows where the spare key is. You know, so he knows to turn on all his equipment. And like you said, you know, if you help me out in the lab, I'll build some stuff for you for your band, which totally makes sense. You know,
Which I guess, yeah, is sort of his relationship even with the Libyans, right? Like he's like, I will build you a bomb if you give me access to plutonium.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
parallel.
yeah. So, which, yeah, it's a little tough. I mean, the Doc he's playing with fire, man. Like, I get he's running a very high level experiment, but it's like, dude, you're literally trying to help terrorists like build bombs. Like, what are you doing here?
He sabotaged it a little, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, give him a empty shelf full of pinball parts.
Yeah, I guess like we don't really know a lot about Doc other than he just seems a little harebrained, right? Like, and maybe he's like people don't take him seriously, so he has to self fund his
But he comes
experiments.
from money.
Well, so he comes from money, and you know they don't tell you know you have to extrapolate a little bit of the data that they don't tell you. But like in the beginning of the movie, it's just he lives in his like garage, right?
Mhm.
And then when he goes see them in 1955, it's this big giant estate. Well, if you look at some of the papers, his house burned down, the mansion burned down.
Mhm.
So it's theorized that he arson for insurance money, insurance fraud to fund the time machine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't think about that. I mean, there's so many little clues in the background.
Like I'm telling you, dude, there's so much in these. Like everything pays off. Like there's even like this thing that you don't think means anything. It'll come back in the next series or the next movie. I mean,
we have to point out the fact that Mike came tonight with peanut brittle, and both Fred and I were like, I presume this has something to do with it. Well, what exactly, I don't know. And we learned George McFly is favorite.
This is his favorite. This is his favorite. A little bowl of peanut brittle.
I love peanut brittle.
Peanut brittle's great.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just never connected it. I never made the thought. I was like, the only thing I know about George McFly is he likes writing sci-fi. He likes looking at girly magazines, and he has right? Doesn't he like catch him with like the, or am I not remembering this right? I thought he like catches his dad. Or no, he's a peeping Tom, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, he doesn't actually have nude magazines. Fifth,
No, that was Biff that had the ooh la la.
Bad name though.
bad name for a magazine.
No, a peanut brittle. Cause it ain't brittle. It's tough.
Oh
You
yeah,
gotta chew on that stuff. You gotta suck on it, let it break down a little.
like peanut fudge maybe or something.
No, peanut tough. That's what I'd call it.
So Christopher Lloyd was suggested because he had worked on Buckaroo Banzai with one of the producers, Neil Canton. The other main option was John Lithgow. So we're talking about Footloose again.
Which is always like the poor man's option for most roles. I love Lithgow, but
Sure.
But yeah, they actually wanted the producer that had worked on Buckaroo Banzai had recommended Lithgow to be Doc Brown. But then when he was unavailable, they offered the role to Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd was reluctant to join the production until a friend encouraged him to take the part. And just was like,
Well, I don't know if I want to or not.
well, because at this time he's just he's like riding off Taxi,
Yeah,
pretty much. He's maybe done a couple movies.
Clue? Is Clue before this?
right around this.
Might
I
be around the
think.
same time, yeah.
But nothing, no major.
One Flew of the Cuckoo's Nest. Would be his probably biggest
And that's
movie.
mid
And that-
70s.
No, I think it's like, is it 70s? I thought it was like maybe 78, 79, 80, 81 in that
That was
range.
76 or 77.
I would bet you
Might be 78.
75.
75. Oh, wow.
That's a good decade before.
So, yeah. So I mean, he had some clout coming in. Lithgow would have not been good right for this role. I mean, that's just what I can say.
It's a role he can do, but
Sure.
it's not. It's a little juiceless.
It wouldn't have been as zany.
It is interesting though, because Christopher Lloyd was not that old playing this role, right? Which I mean, again, it almost feels like because he had sort of like that like wear and tear around him that he looked like he was an older actor playing this, but like he's probably not even in his 40s. Like
It's what you want if they're gonna go back in time, though.
Right.
right, which I mean was the whole idea behind casting everybody. Like they cast young actors. Like Leah Thompson, I think was like what, like not even 2 years older than like Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox.
And I think the kids, the brother and sister, they were older than both Crispin and Leah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Christopher Lloyd was 47 at the time that this movie was made.
Still older than I thought.
Got some city miles on him.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or let's see. Yes, 47. I'm sorry. I'm trying to math it here real quick because he's 86 now.
Yeah, he's old.
He's getting up there.
Well, it's been 40 years since Back to the Future. Isn't it wild?
Hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, it's that chemistry. It's them playing off each other. It's his big just Like, and it's the choice, the amount of energy he's bringing to that role. Like, it could kind of edge on parody, almost like Dr. Frankenstein, right? And it almost seems like what he's channeling a little bit with this.
Yeah, the mad scientist.
Yeah. But I think that's almost what makes Michael J. Fox not more impressive, but you kind of mentioned like he's like a Ferris Bueller light. It's like he really isn't drawing inspiration from anything else like we've seen at that time, right? He just is his own thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, we'll obviously save some stuff for Power Rank because we might talk about very specific sequencing. But I mean, it's just a movie of great performances, very funny gags, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, the jokes are just a mile a minute. I do love the chocolate milk. Like he goes up to the diner. He's like, milk, chocolate, and they slide it over to Crispin Glover. What do you think about Crispin Glover?
I'll always love him in movies. He seems like a character.
He is most certainly a character. He's unusual.
Mm-hmm.
To put it very simply, he's unusual. You see that interview with him on was that Letterman?
Yeah, where he's like kicking.
Yeah,
and like the disco shoes that he's got on.
His dance in Friday the 13th Part 5 that's pretty iconic. That's always worth a YouTube.
Or his role in Charlie's Angel as the screaming man.
Really kind of locked in Charlie's Angels one.
Yeah.
Like kind of a great role, I think. That's a fun ass movie.
It's funny because he is such I think he's a good actor, right? Like,
oh yeah.
But he is just bug nuts.
Yeah.
Like that's how they even described him. They were like, his performance was nuts. And they were kind of unhappy because of his performance choices, instructing him to be more restrained as older George, and then him doing like that big laugh that he does all the time, like
which I think is good. And I'm still like, Leah Thompson is the one who I see as more hammy, but like I think his ham is his ham's tasty. That's what I'll say about Crispin Glover.
It's just big performances. Yeah. I mean, and I think you look at every lead though. Yeah, it's great up and down.
Mm-hmm.
The action's great. I mean, the whole prospect of trying to get the fact that it's like he needs to get back to the future. They know they only have this one in like, a million chance of getting this lightning bolt to strike at the right time. And they only have the go off of like, we know the clock stopped at this time, right? Like, what a great foreshadowing of like, when are we going to know when lightning's going to strike and where? Like, boom. Movie's already forecast when that happens, where it happens, how it happens.
I'm saying, man, every scene it's foreshadowed and it pays off.
Yeah. There's no Deus Ex Machina. It's all just sort of like it's already preset to where you find it, right?
I guess the only Deus Ex Machina you could say is there is divine intervention.
When is that?
Well, when the Libyans gun jams.
Oh, sure.
Just for starters, when and then at the end of the first movie when the car doesn't start on time, and then when it starts, it still gets there at the exact moment that needed to be there, because if it started early and got there early, it wouldn't have happened, which means he wouldn't have gone back, which means he wouldn't have screwed it up, which means he wouldn't have came back, which means he wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I guess I get it. Yeah. But either way, it's still well plotted, I think, for this.
Oh yeah.
Anything else we want to say about the first movie here? I mean, there's a lot to say, but I know we also have 2 other movies to cover.
And we can jump back on broader stuff.
The only thing, so you did mention about the other versions of the time machine. One that I have here is that they had a version as it was a refrigerator. And they decided against that because they didn't want kids go in the refrigerator, recreate it. Also, that the time machine ran on Coca-Cola. And
that's delicious.
Coca-Cola was going to be one of, like, instead of Pepsi, it was going to be Coca-Cola, but they decided against it because Coca-Cola's logo hadn't changed like ever. And they wanted to show, Pepsi, that they got this logo, they got that logo, they got this logo, they got that logo. So they wanted to show like different time periods didn't change,
Sure.
Yeah,
I think it's fine if kids go in refrigerators, because if there's a nuclear bomb, you're safe.
I knew that was coming.
Well, Spielberg got that moment.
I was going to say, Spielberg was like, if I can't get that fridge scene here, I'm bringing that to Indiana.
I'm going to use that later.
Yeah, I'm just pocketing that for 25 years. So stupid. Or 20 years, I'm sorry.
And you're not gonna starve.
Unless you eat all the stuff that's in the fridge.
But Indiana Jones like dumps all the stuff out of the fridge and just gets in.
He's like, oh, this mustard's expired.
This mustard over here. This mustard over here. Because he points.
Yeah,
Harrison
he
Ford
does
points.
point.
Y'all can't see me, but I was pointing when I said that.
Mhm.
Sequel was not initially planned. The teaser ending of Doc, as you mentioned, Mike, was a joke. Basically, they just wanted to suggest that like Doc, Marty, Jennifer flying off, like their adventures would continue off screen. Universal Pictures, though, on the other hand, was eager to pursue a sequel based on the significant success of the movie. Right, obviously. Both the Bobs were reluctant to participate, believing sequels often retread the best elements of the original film. What movies do that? Force Awakens? Zemeckis and Gale then acquiesced by 1987 once Universal Pictures clarified that if they would not do the movie, they were going to make a sequel without them. And they figured, if someone's going to do it, might as well be us. So they wrote the first draft, or Gale wrote the first draft by himself while Zemeckis was busy making Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as we talked about already. According to Gale, they tried to make the future a nice place where what's wrong is due to who lives in the future as opposed to the technology, in contrast to like pessimistic, more Orwellian futures seen in most science fiction.
Sure.
But they still included this, and they had to include this bit because I love a little political dig where I can get it. Gale stated that the characterization of 1985 Biff in the alternate reality was took for inspiration from
Who else?
Donald Trump, of
Mm-hmm.
course. As it always was, right? Like, I mean, you could infer that even without knowing that fact. Sequel script was so long that they decided to split it into 2 films. Films were shot then back to back, as we talked about a little bit. Claudia Wells and Crispin Glover did not return for the sequels. Claudia Wells was replaced by Elizabeth Shue. Glover had stock footage used of him and had a body double named Jeffrey Weissman for prosthetics.
Threw on some shoes, got rid of the gloves.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Come on. Come on.
All right, butthead.
Fred, you just fired up here. Fired up. It's a big week for us. We'll talk a little bit about that in the plugs. I'm glad Fred's in rare form already. Glover sued over his visual rights being used, citing multiple issues for not returning. I tried to find one singular issue.
I have one.
Yeah.
He didn't like the ending of what I said, that he didn't like how the happy ending is that they're rich. He thought it was capitalist. I'm sure that was not the only reason. I'm sure he had some other weirder reasons, but that is something he cited.
He has cited a lot of different things. I do remember kind of reading something like that. So I think there's something to that. And I think that's not wrong. Like, I can understand having issue with that. But then why not do the sequel and start insisting on, like, what if we tried to take some different angles? Which this does. Claudia Wells had planned to reprise her role, but with filming coincided with a family cancer crisis, she had to go and care for her mother instead, which completely understandable. Producers cast Elizabeth Shue as replacement and reshot the closing scenes of the first film to start part 2, as we know. It's a shot-for-shot match for the original, speaking of kind of like palindromes or whatever we talk about, right? Or like echoes.
Chiasmus.
Yeah. So, there wasn't a whole lot other than, I mean, the biggest deal of this whole production is the fact that they shot this all back to back over like a 2-year span. Basically just kept going and started cutting the second movie as they were still concluding filming the third one. So that movie ended up releasing November 22nd, 1989. What are our thoughts on Back to the Future Part 2? I know, Fred, you said it was one of your favorites.
Yeah, it rips.
What are the elements though that really like attracted you to it? And maybe we can start comparing it to number 1 too, right? Because we end up going back to 1955.
I loved that it had the darkness. I loved all the futuristic stuff, the like cheeky futuristic stuff. I also love kind of the victory lap of going back through the first movie with the multiple Martys, the one on stage while the other one's like in the wings doing stuff. Like, I loved all that. That's it.
Well, I was going to say, You mentioned Back to the Future and the Avengers, and that's Endgame when they go back and revisit the best scenes. The best parts of the movies that you've seen already.
Yeah. We totally skipped over too. Yeah, obviously one of the iconic scenes from the first one is when Marty inspires Chuck Berry to write Johnny Be Good, which is a little bit of a tough hang.
Yeah, I do a fan theory involving that, but we can wait if you want.
I mean,
Say it now so we don't forget.
We did
Marvin Berry is a time traveler. Marvin knew that Chuck needed some help, and here's the thing too. Chuck wouldn't have been able to hear that anyways because Marvin was in the back on an old phone and so maybe he just needed a little hey Marvin, this white boy is playing some shit better than you, so you better pick up the pace. Which, oh no, who inspired Johnny Be Good?
What do you mean, in real life?
Well,
Or
okay,
in the movie?
so Marty knows Johnny Be Good because Chuck Berry wrote the song in 55 or 56 or whatever it was, right?
Sure.
But now if Marty goes back in time and gives Chuck the inspiration for Johnny Be Good, where did the inspiration originally come from? Because time, it's a circle. So who came up with Johnny Be Good? Who said, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything?
I mean, I know what you're trying to say. I get it, but I think it's the inference that Chuck Berry was inspired by a white man to write a original.
I don't
song. You know what I mean?
Don't care for that.
It's just
for that.
It's just I will say, after visiting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame recently, like in the past month or two,
They got a whole Marty section there.
they do have a whole. They were like, yeah, Marty McFly is the reason we have rock and roll. And this is a small enchantment under the sea ball in the middle of California. No, they have a big exhibit to Chuck Berry. It's very cool. It was kind of funny because they have this huge exhibit to Elvis in one corner. And there's people watching these little documentaries and stuff. And then if you go behind there, it's all this stuff devoted to Chuck Berry and just all these influences. And they kind of go so far as to say basically yeah, Elvis is great, but he wouldn't be Elvis without Chuck Berry.
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely correct. And I think it's just it's wonderful that they use a great Chuck Berry song in this movie. And I think it's always such a fun sequence.
It would have been different if they used the song My Dingling instead, I think.
It's I mean, yeah, it's just I think it is funny because you mentioned that whole subplot that they cut of rock and roll getting erased, right? But I think it is so integral to the influence that Marty brings, that he's introducing rock and roll here to these people who not even quite sure what they're hearing.
Your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, it's a very smart move also to use that he plays a 50s song and not an 80s song, because I think that would have been very trite.
Yes, a 50s song that he knew was a couple of years too early, but people are still gonna love.
Yeah, some probably his parents listened to. They're from that era.
Yeah,
but a great gag where he starts doing an Eddie Van Halen riff, at the
and
end
the Hendrix behind his head and Axl Rose, all that stuff. Or not Axl Rose. What's his name?
Slash.
AC/DC. What's
Angus.
Angus.
Yeah, he's kind of doing the little kick
Yeah.
step. Yeah. But see, that might be the one thing you don't get with a 70s to 2000s movie is what's the music equivalent?
It's just a tasty jam, a long in a white room with black.
You know what it would probably be? It'd probably be hip hop and R&B.
Oh yeah,
Because in the 70s, hip hop and R&B is Sugar Hill Gang and Run DMC. So maybe you bring some Tupac back.
Yeah. He starts playing
if he does Walk This Way, but brings in the Run DMC stuff.
That'd be kind of great. And then he just goes so far to doing a Linkin Park type thing.
Linkin Park playing right now.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I totally missed my Oasis tickets earlier.
I did too. I forgot about it.
Totally did. That's all right. It's going to be Thursday night, and that's going to be a little tight. Anyway, back to the Future. Back to the Future. Part 2. Part 2 is, though, yeah, like you said, it's got a lot of new elements. We see a dystopian 1985. We see a very optimistic future, one that predicted at the times hilariously when it came out that the Cubs would win the World Series in 2015.
Which it was really close. They really close.
Very close.
And they're playing the Marlins also, which is a Florida team.
Yes.
I don't know if they're the Miami Marlins yet.
They were not, but the Marlins, there was no Miami team at the
Correct.
time that Back to the Future Part 2 came out. Cubs ended up winning, though, but against the Cleveland Indians in 2016. Now the Cleveland Guardians. But yeah, very damn close to predicting that. I mean,
Well, a lot of the stuff they predicted did come true. I mean, like, just for example, just some small things, like when they go to his house in 2015, the big flat screen TV, the
mhm.
big landscape, picture in picture,
Zoom calls.
Zoom calls. I mean, they got a lot of stuff wrong, like faxes still being relevant. Obviously the flying cars and Jaws 22 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
This time it's really personal,
Yeah. I do remember thinking as a kid too. I was like, why do video calls not exist yet? I'm like, it kind of feels like we're halfway to the technology. And then when that started becoming a thing in the early 2000s, I was like, is that because of Back to the Future and like Star Trek or anything like that?
Yeah.
Or
I say yes, honestly, because life imitates art.
Mhm.
And especially when people who to create this stuff, who develop this new technology, they grew up watching this and be like, oh, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if you actually had a little wrist communicator, or like you could see somebody exactly
Look what
you know
Fred's
what I mean?
got on. He's got a smartwatch. Like
I know it's
Patreon money, baby.
those dollars go far, man.
Mhm.
straight out of Star Trek, and they're communicating on their watches, like two to beam up. But you definitely get this like look of the future, and man, of course, dude goes and is like, I'm gonna go buy a sports almanac that has all the results of every game for like the past 50 years or whatever it is, and like try and like make money off of it. Which it was funny because I remember reading here, and I don't think I even added this to the notes. So like they did not want the premise for the first one to be about them traveling through time for personal gain. Like that was never the purpose. They were like just kind of like explorers, like they were kind of like interested in it. And so like the whole idea that Marty even goes back by accident felt better, because it was like, what if you do go back on accident, you get stuck, right? Like it's such a more rewarding premise of like, well, no, all he wants to do is get back home and get back to his time and get back to like the future, versus like him having this personal profit. And I do kind of think that does sort of stick in your craw a little bit. Is like Marty is basically at fault for like screwing up the timeline in the sequel.
Oh yeah.
Just because he is like, I just want to make a little money, and it's like, but yeah, but you're kind of playing with like fortunes, and you're kind of twisting time here a little bit if you benefit off of like results that you know about.
Mhm.
So I think it does kind of hurt his character a little bit in the sequel.
Well, but also he's a kid. He's a young kid, and
Kids are dumb.
kids is stupid.
You wouldn't take the almanac and bet on sports?
I mean, I ain't the lead character in this movie yet.
What would you guys do if you were given the opportunity? If you had the inspiration for the idea, would you do it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, of course.
I'd say it's pretty victimless.
Well, except for the people you're taking the money from.
What if it's just casinos though? Or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
Casinos can suck it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't really care about a casino. I don't give a shit about the Bellagio.
Open up your own casino.
Exactly.
Like
Steal money from myself.
open up your own pleasure palace.
I like to think that I will be a respectable, honorable person, and
No, you're
just
just special.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would take a hoverboard though. Like, listen, like if I had those hoverboards,
That's actually really fucked up that you would do that.
yeah, well, whatever.
You know that the production they told, because it has got the Mattel name on it, and they told people that it actually, this product does exist. It's just not on the market yet, and people believe that. People thought that actually hoverboards were a real thing, and that they could try to purchase them. They were not real. They are not real.
I was very sad. I always wanted. I still want a hoverboard. That's like one of like my cherished like goals in life, is like if these things ever become like, and then they tried to like market the new hoverboards that like they have out now. That bullshit that's basically just like a
It's
like a Segway without
yeah.
like the little like arm or whatever. I'm like, that ain't no hoverboard. I want this thing off the ground. Like I don't want it touching grass. I want to be able to float down the street. Like that's 2025, guys. We're 10 years past the future
Yeah.
that this movie depicted. And I ain't got no hoverboard.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Instead, I got flooding. Like, I don't want flooding in my basement. I want hoverboards.
Yeah, if you had a hoverboard, you just fly right over that.
Yeah. Right?
You bojo. Those things don't work on water unless you got power.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have the good one. You know.
The pit bull.
Yeah.
You know, actually, it was originally going to be called the Mad Dog, which is foreshadowing to Mad Dog Cannon.
Mm. Which is like, oh man, the cronies are never quite as good as the 1985 cronies. Like, you got the one dude, what is it? It's like Specs or whatever with the 3D glasses on. You got Billy Zane twisting his toothpick and
Match.
other guy.
And then you know, Dork thinks he's gonna drown. That guy.
Great gag, manure gag. Them
Yeah.
always finding a way to crash.
A Jones, D Jones, the other Jones.
Why are there so many manure trucks in the middle of town? What is Hill Valley that they need to have all these manure trucks around all the time?
I've never seen a manure truck.
I've never.
And I grew up in a small town.
No horses in the first Back to the Future or second one. I don't know.
No, they got hoverboards, Mike. We talked about this.
What? There's no horses in the future because they got hoverboards.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got rid of them.
yeah. Why would you need a horse if you could just hover everything down the road?
Recreation. They don't got no hover horses.
Well, now we're
Hey,
talking.
that's a Pegasus.
Yeah. Now we're talking about Greek mythology. Weren't we talking about Oedipus Rex not too long ago?
Yeah.
There is but yeah, it is funny though, comparing now being past that point. I remember everyone made a big deal, like, we're in 2015, we're in Back to the Future 2's future. And it's like society doesn't look anything like what they predicted. Like, 3D was trying to make it a comeback.
And it sort of did.
James Cameron made it happen for sure.
Hell yeah.
But I don't know. I think I always did have this vision of, like, this is what the future feels like it's going to be. Like, it had some practicality to it. They do have the self-latching sneakers now, right?
They've made them.
Or the adjustable sneakers.
Yeah. You know, prototype type deals. And obviously they don't have the self-fitting, self-drying jacket. No one wears their pants inside out.
80s nostalgia, though?
No double ties.
Yeah.
80s nostalgia?
Strangers.
No, they had the Cafe 80s, and I
Oh.
feel like that's a thing. Like,
That-
80s nostalgia's huge.
100% nostalgia.
I feel like the way we get 80s nostalgia now is like arcade bars. Like, that's like the closest thing to it at Cafe 80s I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I have a lot of affection for this. Like, I remember watching the first one a lot. We owned the first one. We never owned the second or the third one. So this case, it's the first time I owned all three. But I remember going to, like, my great uncle's house. That's how I confused it before. And watching the sequels and being like, this is crazy. Like, they go to the past, they go to the future, they're everywhere in this one. But as you grow older and you do see, the storytelling is not as tight. And I think it does show that they weren't on board to necessarily make this movie, as much as I think they found a way to write, I think, between the entire two sequels, a complete story. And, like, my favorite little bit is when he's walking through the hotel, Biff's hotel, in the alt 1985, and he's catching, like, clips of A Fistful of Dollars on TV. Like, it's like my favorite little piece of foreshadowing, because it's like, if you don't necessarily see that scene, but if you know the movie, you know the whole thing about Clint Eastwood wearing the armor underneath his poncho. But I don't know. Anything else you guys want to talk about with Back to the Future Part 2? Any other things that any good gags that you like? The dehydrated pizza?
Hey, I like that. I like the fruit thing that comes from the ceiling, and they're just like fruit growing.
And let's not forget that the scene that when they're at the table, it's 3 Michael J. Foxes there, all interacting. Also, they're not just like, I mean, yes, it's split screen, but like he's pouring drinks and they're picking them up and they're here, hand this, here you go, here, hand, let me hand, you know. So like
Pre-clumps.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And Zemeckis, though, he's like a magician with visual effects in some ways. I will say my favorite cameo in this movie and in the sequel.
Elijah Wood? No?
Well, Elijah Wood is in this movie.
Michael Jackson.
Not Michael Jackson. That's like
Beef for pork. He's in Cafe 80s as one of the Max Headroom.
Oh, that's
Same with
right.
Reagan.
Which I always loved that the 80s imagined that like VR and everything was going to be like Max Headroom, where they're like beep beep beep, like they had like these little like stutters. But Flea is boss, right? He's
Needles.
Yeah.
needles, and like when you realize it's Flea, and you're like, man, why did they pick him? But he just has such a interesting look about him. This is kind of before the Chili Peppers even took off.
Yeah.
2 and 3, they start. It's kind of like early retconning. They're really getting like the whole chicken thing in,
Yeah.
Oh,
which is not in the first movie at all, right?
I thought
No, not at all.
Maybe
I don't
not.
think so.
There is no.
But it is kind of funny in 2. They're like, that classic thing we know about Marty is he doesn't like to be called a chicken.
That is kind of like Imperial March not being in A New Hope, though.
Right.
Like, just assume, like, oh, yeah, Marty hates being called chicken. Like, nobody calls me chicken.
I like the guy, one of the henchmen has like the thing that can play the chicken. He has like a soundboard.
Yeah.
Chicken McFly.
Man. I do love always, though, there's like a little skateboarding sequence in every one of these. That's the most 80s shit you can put in a movie.
I mean, him hanging on the back of cars, how cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great establishing thing in the beginning of number 1 when he's like, going downtown by like grabbing on back of cars. And then he's doing the same shit in the 50s on like this like janky wooden skateboard. Like,
This all seems very familiar.
yeah.
Yeah. I love the stunt where he's in the tunnel and he like when he gets the magazine back from Biff, that scene is probably the tense. Maybe I would put as one of the tenser scenes of the whole trilogy.
Mm-hmm. I also have one of my favorite bits of an actor acting against themselves in this entire trilogy is when old Biff is talking to young Biff and he brings him the magazine. He's like, old man, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? It's leave. Make like a tree and leave. Idiot. I hate when you sound stupid. It's just I think he's maybe my favorite of just being able to toggle between the different personas of himself.
It's definitely the performance that I lock into the most going back.
Yeah. But
Just Biff in general.
it's too unfortunate for him because I think he did get kind of typecast. Like they're like, he's just gonna have to be a bully. Did you guys ever see the stand-up set that he does where he like does his song?
Yeah.
And he always talks about just like people always want him to like put the like call him a butthead on their answering machine or some shit. Like,
I guess he has like business cards that he just hands out that like, frequently asked questions. Here's the answer.
Yeah.
So I don't have to answer them. How's the BJ Box? He's great. Christopher Lloyd was cool too.
How's Crispin Glover? He's weird.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, the only other time I really think of that actor is in Freaks and Geeks. He's really good.
Right. He's the coach, and he starts dating Martin Starr's mom in one of the episodes.
It's got that Who needle drop of Rain Over Me, I think.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
I do like the. I feel like I'm very sensitive because Seth Rogen was just on a podcast too and talking all the way about Freaks and Geeks, and I'm just like, that was a show cut down so early before its
And
time.
with that was Fox too, wasn't it? Wasn't it Fox?
Yeah.
And they screwed it up. They, because they aired the episodes. They aired the episodes out of order, or was that they did that for Firefly too, didn't they?
I think so. Yeah.
And wasn't it like a Saturday, like on Saturdays or
It
something?
was a poor time slot, also. Yeah.
And you gotta know, freaks and geeks are party people. Wasn't that like the David Lynch thing when he talked about Twin Peaks airing on Saturdays?
Yeah. It's just it feels like networks just always messed around so much with stuff. But yeah, that is easily the best. The only other real Thomas F. Wilson role I can think of is that show.
Yeah. Is he in Outsiders?
The
Movie.
Coppola movie? I don't remember, to be honest.
So this movie, I said, released November 22nd, 1989. $333 million it made on a $40 million budget. I'll just kind of tell you that this all. I fucked up. I was going to say $40 million budget. But $40 million budget for 2 and 3 together.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Yeah. What was the first one you said?
20? 19 million? Yeah.
19. That sounds right.
The 3 comes out all profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. It's making all money. So
Great sizzle reel for 3 at the end.
yes,
Yes, which is something that's very odd that they show you a trailer for the next movie at the end of the second movie.
I like it.
I mean,
Avengers did that.
Me personally, I don't like spoilers.
Yeah, that's true.
I like to go in. I like to go in fresh. You know.
all right, we got to talk on something before we move off of Avengers one more time. The whole idea, it's the same composer.
Yeah, Silvestri.
Alan Silvestri
Wow.
did Back to the Future and the Avengers.
Which, let's not skip over the soundtrack's not a soundtrack, is it? Score. It's great. Like honestly, it's great. Like
Score is great. Yeah, but I was just gonna say that I love a sting. I love a good sting where you know what it is, and that's that little.
Should we hear a little of the Back to the Future suite?
Sure.
With that.
Was Silvestri a Williams disciple?
That I don't know, but I definitely was feeling he's like Williams mixed with like some like proto-futurism. Like he sounds like what Tomorrowland should sound like when you're walking around Tomorrowland.
And like, you know, one of the things I saw about this score is that like he wanted to, you know, he was inspired by like the big epics of like the 60s, you know what I mean? Of like it's a big orchestral score. You know, he wanted to bring some, you know, some energy, some body to this, you know, to like, you know, it's an adventure. It's not just a movie. It's sci-fi and but like it's an adventure. It's a journey. It's a, you know, it's
It does have a lot of there's like a lot of emotion to it, a lot of excitement, a lot of romp, like you kind of mentioned. And I think maybe that's just without even working with like John Williams. John Williams was inspired by the same things, watching these like older like serials or whatever of like these like
movies. Serials, Flash Gordon.
Right.
Yeah. Clash.
What am I trying to think of? Like the greatest show on earth or whatever that was. The fucking the movie. Or not the Greatest Showman, or it's like
Hugh Jack.
It's like the movie that inspired Indiana Jones, though. It's got the same guy from Planet of the Apes, Charlton Heston.
I don't know.
Oh, like you don't mean like 10 Commandments, do you?
Well, I mean,
okay.
it's kind of
that era.
It's like that era. Yeah.
What's that movie? Not Ben-Hur. Okay.
I mean, right. It's all those kinds of stuff. But I mean, like Silvestri, he's kind of one of those composers that I don't think gets talked about a ton, because obviously John Williams is the GOAT, and then you got your Hans Zimmer, who's like the most like antithesis of John Williams, and you keep going down the list. But his catalogs, and I think especially with this movie series in general, his score is so like riveting. It really sucks you in and gets you like feeling like you're on like an adventure.
Just because really like you had the pause after sucks for a second, it just made me laugh.
Sucks it in. You guys got that feeling of being sucked in. But I mean, you do hear that though a little bit with the Avengers score. I think I even kind of like, as we're listening to like the theme song, I'm getting a little bit of like Superman, like, but I'm also getting like a lot of that Avengers sort of like riff of like, like when they're all like circling up in the first movie, right? You hear that like sting kind of hit. So yeah, it's a great score. And obviously this was like his first big thing that put him on the map too. I think we can kind of mention that. But he did do Who Framed Roger Rabbit as well. He also did Death Becomes Her and Forrest Gump, which I love. The
Forrest Gump score is good.
It is good. Great soundtrack and just all Forrest.
So is that piano, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
That piano, but also
we'll give you some piano.
The needle drops.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I'm like, it is kind of interesting with how much this movie does, or these movies do have like a lot of rock and roll involved. Like the only needle drops we get is a couple like Huey Lewis tunes, and then Johnny Be Good performed by like.
We didn't mention the Huey Lewis cameo in the first one.
That's right.
You're just too dang loud.
You're just too darn loud. Sorry, fellas. Which is funny because Huey Lewis concerts have gotten complaints for being too loud.
Really?
Yes. Which is actually why he retired, because he can't hear anymore because of his concerts.
Really?
He has hearing loss and he just can't hear himself anymore.
So he wants a new drug?
Yeah. One that won't make him sick.
I love Huey Lewis.
I do too. I saw him at Summerfest several years back. I think it might have been the last time he was on tour. He did not sound good.
When I saw him at Summerfest, it sounded good, but this is like maybe 10 or so years ago.
Yeah, that's about. We might have been there at the same time.
Maybe.
Actually,
I remember having a good time.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
it was okay. It was fine.
yeah. He's just got a very specific sound that I think you do associate with this a little bit too. And I do love that they made a song called Back in Time. And obviously that's the end of the first movie. But
Right.
like Power of Love, it just has a little bit more. like-
That's the song with the most juice, and then there's the Back in Time. You're like, okay.
yeah. You're like, gotta go
Hmm.
back in time.
Mhm.
Wow.
He did a Pineapple Express song too.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's not very good, but he did like and that was like one of the last few movies to have like we're gonna make a song that's the movie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than the Dragnet song.
Yeah. Ooh. I don't even know what that was. I thought the one where Tom Hanks is rapping.
Yeah.
Oh God! Oh God!
Yeah, it's bad.
I know. I was telling my wife about that the other day. I was like, she loves Tom Hanks movies, so does her mom. And I was like, you guys watch Dragnet? She's like, what's that? I'm like, I don't even know if you want to watch that. It's not.
I remember liking the movie, but I don't know if it's good. I remember liking that, but I remember the song being really bad.
Yeah. The origins of the Western theme for Back to the Future Part 3, I guess, lays in the production of the original Back to the Future film. During filming for the original, Zemeckis was talking to Michael J. Fox and just kind of asked him off cuff, like, what time period would you like to see if you could go to any time period? And Fox replied that he wanted to go visit the Old West, meet cowboys. Zemeckis and Bob Gale were intrigued by the idea, but held off on it until Part 3. So that's what they claim the genesis of this.
I'm
idea.
surprised it was the young person. Like, I feel like I picture like Zemeckis and those guys all like, I grew up on like the Hawks movies and all that stuff. And
I bet you there was some of that though too. Like, I mean, they wouldn't just do the idea because Michael J. Fox said the idea, right?
no, but it's just interesting to do a throwback to that kind of Western because at this point, hasn't Unforgiven come out?
I think we're 1 year early.
Okay,
Yeah.
then that makes sense because I was like, Unforgiven it'd be hard to make something like this after Unforgiven.
I do kind of wonder if this sort of revived the Western because you think about the 90s, right? And then after that, we get Unforgiven, we get The Quick and the Dead, we get
Tombstone.
Young Guns.
Young Guns.
Young Guns 1 and 2, sure.
Right? Like all of a sudden these like more modern westerns start coming to the surface, and Eastwood, especially getting name dropped in this movie, probably is like, people remember me now.
Yeah.
Role of Clara Clayton was written specifically with Mary Steenburgen in mind. She is peak in this movie.
Hell yeah.
When she received the script, however, she was reluctant to commit to the film until her children, who had loved the first film, hounded her to do it. So, I had to look this up because I was like, she was dancing.
That's what I was just thinking.
She was not.
I didn't think so.
Do you know who she was married to?
Someone though, right?
Someone. And
I know it, but I don't remember it.
Any idea, Mike? I know you're a movie guy.
I don't have any guesses. No.
I only have one hint I can give, I think, really, of a movie that he's in. A Clockwork Orange.
Wow. Really?
Malcolm McDowell was her first husband.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, Mary. Would you like to marry me, perhaps?
Which, like, listen, McDowell is a young guy. He's a handsome guy.
Yeah, he's handsome.
Yeah.
He's pretty too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you look at that. It's just funny to think like him and his kids are kind of like, mommy.
Going to film your Western. Mommy. We would like our milk, please.
Talking to her through that Kubrick stare. Like, we would like our more money, please, mother.
Us and our drugs. This is, but I know we're trying to save some Show Me the Franchise, but I gotta at least mention this. Zemeckis considered having the mayor of Hill Valley instead of having the principal from the first one, who I forgot to look up the actor's name, but he's a great in that part. considered having Ronald Reagan play the role.
I had heard that. Yeah.
Well, come do your sci-fi film.
Yeah,
Put him up now.
because Reagan. If people were not aware of this, 1989, he had just finished his term as president, had appeared in several westerns earlier in his career as an actor, and he contacted Reagan's agent to gauge his interest, to which Reagan declined.
Which is wild because like I know he loved Back to the Future. Like he had like a private screening in the White House, and like he had to like hold on, rewind it, because I was laughing when they said that who's president I knew about. The actor. I suppose Jane Wyman is,
He's doing the Leo point. Like, that's me.
Hey, look at that! They're making a joke about me, Nancy.
Yeah, that was the thing. He couldn't do it because Nancy wanted to like drug test all the people on set.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they're not great people, but it's just
Maybe the worst people? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I mean, there's some bad people. I would say that the worst people. But...
No. They walked for even worse people to run.
Yeah, there you go.
How I think you can kind of put that in place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people relitigating the Reagan era has definitely been coming up a lot recently. But it is a funny gag in the first film when Doc doesn't believe Marty is from the future. He's like, "You're telling me Ronald Reagan is president, the actor?" it's like, listen, Doc, you get to 2025. I got some news for you. Like,
Biff is president.
Yeah. Which, like, total aside, because we kind of skipped over this in two. So, right, Biff becomes like super rich and powerful after getting the almanac in this 1985, very Trumpish. But it's so funny because it's like, even then you're like, how does someone like this get this amount of power and wealth and all that? And then I'm watching the new Daredevil series. Finally, I'm going back and watching Daredevil. And you get this whole subplot of Kingpin becoming mayor of New York. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, this is probably supposed to feel like disbelief, kind of shocking. It's like, nothing about this would be surprising. If you made a fourth Back to the Future, and I'm not going to jump into that yet, and you had Biff as president, or governor or mayor or something like that, it ain't that much of a fucking stretch at this point. Like, people fail up. Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of funny to think of it that way. Anyway, that was just my quick tangent I wanted to share, just on the joke of Biff being president. It could happen.
Make America butthead again?
Make America butthead again.
Who was that?
I was trying to do butthead, like
Beavis.
Like Beavis and Butthead.
like make America butthead again. I can't really do a butthead.
I can do a Beavis though.
Okay.
Do you got a Dale Gribble?
I could do a little Dale if I like.
We've been watching King of the Hill.
I've been watching King of the
It's
Hill.
pretty good. They're not fantastic, but it's definitely King of Hill vibes.
You know what?
It's the same energy.
I think it actually ages pretty well.
I think it's fine.
Other than the Asian neighbor being voiced, for some reason, just like, I know we've had Apu for like the same amount of time, but there's something about that voice.
Well, yeah. Well, you know that he died though, Johnny Hardwick.
No, Toby Huss does the voice, and he's still alive.
Yeah, but Johnny Hardwick, who played Dale, he did die.
I thought he did Khan also.
No, Toby Huss does Khan.
Mm-hmm. They did recast Khan though for the reboot.
Yeah,
I
for the
figured
revival.
that.
Yeah,
which
Good move. Yeah, Toby Huss, who is he's the dad in like the new Halloween movies.
Yeah.
David Gordon Green, which I always like seeing him recently. And then when I looked up, I was like, Toby Huss, that name keeps popping. I was like, oh.
yeah.
Other than that, it ages great.
Listen, yeah, like Huss Azaria, I'm like, I like both those guys a lot. I'm like, just don't live down those roles, please. Like,
I will just say one thing so we don't tangent too much about King of the Hill is this. The reason why that show works so well with those people of those viewpoints is because Hank Hill is always afraid of the other. He's never angry or bitter about like things he doesn't understand. He's always literally like scared of it.
oh yeah,
What?
what? No.
yeah, not a bad Hank. Not a bad Hank. Yeah, I can't do anyone on that show. Even trying to do Bill, because Steve Root does such a good job.
Uncle Hank.
All right, Peter, her. But We'll tie this back though to Back to the Future, because I think there is something to that element to it of like there is like this idea that 1955 is both the halcyon days of 1955, this like idea of like make America great again, like that's like the golden era. But then you go back there and there are things Marty's like, God, these people are kind of backwards. Like, and I kind of love that he sort of like shades them a little bit of like, you guys really just don't think forward. Like, it's like you're still kind of stuck like, yeah, it's a rerun. Like, what's a rerun? Like, and it just, and even you get a little bit more of that in the Old West here, which they don't comment on too much. But
No.
but there is something to kind of be had at the joke of like some of these people in town being some like yokels, and the smart people are the women, right? Like literally, like Clara's a teacher. I don't know. And I was always kind of like mixed, because it's like this is such a more romance forward movie, which but it's grown on me. I like being happy for Christopher Lloyd and Doc Brown, especially it gets Mary Steenburgen. I'm like, good work.
Yeah.
But he's the one who causes the problems this time by saving her life, right? Like doing the right thing.
Yeah. Although, because she was supposed to die, I think he figured that starting a relationship with her wouldn't affect. Hold on now. Because if she died, that means that he has kids with her. That means that there's two people that don't exist that now exist. And now they're going to meet some other people that maybe have met these other people. They're going to be here and going to be there. Although, this all goes back to the first movie when he read the ripped up letter. Because there's a moment after when Marty shows up to, the last scene, right, with the time travel scene or whatever. And he's looking at the picture and it's back. And, oh, my dad never stood up to Biff in his life. He's like, never? No, never. Why? Nah, whatever. He realizes right then and there that the future is not written. The future is whatever you make it. You know what I'm saying? And the things that are going to happen if they're supposed to happen, which without that moment, you don't get part 2. You don't get part 3.
It is an interesting prospect that I think these movies suggest, right? Is this the history that was supposed to be written because it happened? Or is it that they actually did meddle with it, create a butterfly effect, and that's what we're seeing is them rewriting it to like them trying to do their best to like maintain an integrity of a timeline that they know. Because ultimately, Doc, right at the end of this movie, not to skip all the way to the end, but it's just like, yeah, he says, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go start gallivanting through time with my wife and kids, and who cares?"
Speaking of that scene, do y'all know about that kid?
I know exactly.
Little pee-pee gesture.
He's like, come here. Little creep. So fucking weird.
I feel when like the whole like when it kind of came clear that he just had to go potty, kind of made it a lot better. But there was like a time, because I don't feel like that came out for like a long time, or at least I hadn't heard like that's why he's doing it.
Oh,
but when you just kind of hear it, like you see it and people talk about it, you're like, what's going on there? But yeah, apparently he just had to pee.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like kid logic. That's like,
well, boy, he's gonna point to his pee-pee. He's gotta pee, There is a lot though in this movie that I mean, I don't know. I love the moonwalk when he's like they told him to dance and doing at his feet.
Fun fact about that: the sound effects during that scene is by Michael Winslow.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's all Michael Winslow.
So they just hired him to do that shit?
Yep.
I still love that they have that actor who sounds like this. He's in every Western. He has a great name,
Buttram.
Yeah.
It's something
Bertram.
But it's Buttram.
Yeah.
His last name is Buttram. And then he's got the other guy too.
Type in Buttram on Google.
I will not.
No, all three of those guys have done
Pat.
Yeah. Pat
Bertram.
Buttram. Pat Buttram.
Bertram.
But all three of those guys have done like hundreds of Westerns.
And also, like, if you're going to have like a voice in an animated, I think he's also won the Bullets in
Rescuers.
No. Well, I'm sure he's in the Rescuers, but I'm saying he's won the Bullets in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just love that that's what you point to. You're like, he's one of the bullets in that animated sequence in Frame Roger Rabbit. But yeah, he definitely has that voice.
Like this.
Just a very
Like,
classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just the more I've thought about Back to the Future Part 3, which is a movie I don't think I had a lot of love for when I was a kid, just because like I and personally, and this is it's gonna give me some hot water. I'm not a huge Western fan.
I'm with you.
I don't love Westerns, so I think this one always kind of missed me a little bit because it missed a lot of like the elements I liked, you know, like the more science fiction forward stuff, and it felt like there is just a little too much like Old West, like playing by the rules of the Old West. I'm like, but these guys have fucking hoverboards and a time machine and like modern, like the knowledge of modern technology. Like, can't we get a little bit more? And then we do, you know, Doc has his little like sniper rifle, and you have like
And his ice maker.
yeah, and like his ice maker that takes like fucking 20 minutes to get one cube.
Yeah. It's also, you know, you get the like one of the few only good jokes in A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yes. Have you not seen A Million Ways to Die in the West?
No, what is the joke?
There's just a part where they like go into a room and they literally got Christopher Lloyd to be Doc Brown, like,
He's, like,
in
covered
like
up the
his
time
room
machine.
covering like the thing.
Oh man.
And it's like a Family Guy scene in real life.
Scott. yeah, it's that movie's not great, but that scene is fantastic.
But that's funny. I like it. I mean, it is sort of funny. I mean, obviously it's like we have them. I mean, it's the same exact plot as the first one we talked about, right? Other than instead of like Marty's mom trying to make advances on him, it's like Doc now having this woman that he saved who's supposed to die. And we're kind of like tussling with the consequences of like meddling with time even more. Because it's like that's what got him there to begin with, right? They fucked around, had to go back to 1955. Doc gets struck by lightning. He ends up back here. I love when it's our guy again. We just talked about him in the Adam Sandler episode, Joe Flaherty, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was just thinking this earlier. I was like, Joe Flaherty is like the what American postal person or whatever.
Yeah.
Western Union.
Yeah, Western Union. That's what it is.
I love that though when he comes up at the end. He's like, "Are you Marty McFly?" And he's like, "Who the hell knows me?" In 1955.
Also, Freaks and Geeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at this, all tied back to
Mhm.
Freaking Geeks. Everything's kind of clicking in one place or another.
It's almost like it's a circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Oh.
Man. Damn. Didn't even think about that. But I love that when it looks like he's like some kind of like assassin or something like that. He's like, "Oh, I got something for you. Western Union. We had a bet."
It's like I lost. You jackass.
Yeah, just I don't know. There's a lot to like, I think, about this movie in hindsight. ZZ Top with a great little
Yeah.
great
Which
little
I actually like the Western song much better than the actual version of that double back song. It's not great.
Is that it's a cover of one of their own songs?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think they wrote the song for the movie, but you don't hear the song until the end. So your first introduction to it is at the town festival.
So Huey Lewis wrote music for the first movie. ZZ Top did it for the third movie. Did we have anyone for the second movie writing music?
No, they got the Michael Jackson needle
Yeah.
drop. That's about all I can think
I
about.
mean, that's all the money you need to spend if you're gonna
Yeah,
do
that's
one in
true.
1989.
Yeah, I can't think of any other music other than Cafe 80s.
Yeah.
2000. Well, I guess it's 2015 in the future. They didn't want to like guess to what music was going to be like. I guess.
So I love he goes to 1985 and second war and he hears some Sammy Hagar and he's just like, "I can't drive."
Mm-hmm.
His biker's like taking over California.
Crazy drunk pedestrian.
Which that's Red Thomas. That's the mayor from 1955.
Oh yeah, the one on this porch step, right, with the shotgun.
No, that's strict.
That's Strickland. That's the principal. So when he comes at the end of the first movie, when he comes back and he's in the town square, the guy, the bum laying on the bench, you know, he wakes up and he's like a crazy drunk pedestrian. You remember that?
Yes. Okay.
But that's the mayor from, you know, re-elect Mayor Thomas. You know, Progress is his middle name.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that.
A lot of little stuff in there, like
A little bit of shade at a homeless person, but or a bum. I don't know, but I don't know. Hey, either way. So I guess I don't know. Anything else you guys want to say though about 3 in specific, like things that you really enjoyed about this? The final sequence is thrilling. I always
Yeah,
get that train going.
absolutely.
I like it when he drinks that wake up juice.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess we can't overlook the duel, right? Of like, I love that Marty's a natural shot just from playing like Papa Shot and like arcades and stuff,
7-Eleven, man.
or 7-Eleven, yeah.
Which is funny because that's another callback when that in Back to the Future 2, you gotta use your hands. It's like a baby's toy. And then it's so easy, even a child could do it. Even a baby can hold this Colt and shoot. Are you telling me you're weaker than a baby?
Oh yeah.
It's all callbacks, man.
It's like, are you Yella? And then he does the showdown. And,
Yeah.
oh man. I have a very quick story. I know we're probably running long at this point, but we knew this was going to be a longer one.
Oh yeah.
We got the time.
Very, very quick story.
All the time in the world. We just go back and warn you.
Freshman year of high school, we did I was in an acting class, and guy decided he wanted to do, everybody picks a play that you have to do. That's kind of your final project, is you produce a play and you get into groups and do this. And this guy, who was like a senior at the time, huge Clint Eastwood fan, was like, I want to adapt A Fistful of Dollars to be the stage production. Which is, you can already imagine, kind of a difficult thing to adapt for stage.
Light on dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like a bartender or something like that. And, man, very stale acting out of Tom Stadler. Not a great look for young Tom, but I do just have that moment of when it finally clicked for me. That was the moment that clicked when I was doing this play in high school. That when he has the bulletproof vest underneath his poncho, Clint Eastwood does in the movie, and then I'm watching Back to the Future Part 3, and I'm like, he got inspired in Part 2. He saw the clip of the movie on in 1985, in the old 1985, and then realizes, like, that's how I beat Mad Dog Tannen in the duel. Like, and it's just like a little, like you said, it's just these little echoes, these little like brilliant points. But it's just, I think that was when I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this movie for like 15, 16 years at that point or whatever. I mean, since I was a kid, and I'm like, I had no idea. Like, that's what inspired it, you know? So it's just fun. I think it's very rewarding that Marty uses the same thing from another movie, because that's the type of shit I would do if I ever got stuck in the past. I'd be like, what can I borrow? I'm probably Back to the Future, right? I'd be like, all right, now I'm going to stow it in a cave or something. So do we want to do some Show Me the Franchise?
Sure. Do you want to talk some fan theories?
I mean, I think that's kind of falls in this realm.
All right, let's
This
do it.
is our coulda, woulda, shoulda segment. So maybe we can talk about, like these being fan theories tying into it, and some other pieces that could have been with the movies.
Let's see here.
Kick us off, Mike. What do you got?
I got a bunch of them. Let's see. Why was it 88 miles per hour? Any theories?
No.
Nope.
So the only things that I've found is, one is that 88 is fully lit numerals, and with all the energy going into it, that's what it had to be. The only other option that I can think of that makes sense is that that's how fast they had to go through like the wormhole before it closed. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you look, like, the license plate doesn't make it through. So like they just made it through. You know what I'm saying?
Is it? So you said the first one is because it's what? It's
Like on a clock, how like
Like
if
a
you
digital-
look at a clock that's turned off, the alarm clock, it's 8s.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? All the segments are lit up in the numeral.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's the highest speed you can get on a car where it's all lit up. No, because it would go to 100, right? In a DeLorean.
Well, but all what I'm saying is, like, because, like, okay, think of it like a digital clock. You know what I mean? How it's got like the 0 and then the line through it to make the 8, right?
Mhm.
So all those are lit up. That's pretty much it.
All the powers.
All the power is
I suppose.
yeah. Because they don't really explain why it's 88 miles an hour.
I guess the other thing I could think of is that it looks like 2 infinity symbols.
Nah.
Ooh,
You know, when
that's
it's
a
like
good
the
one.
time is supposed
I
to
like
be like
that.
an
I like
infinite
that.
loop or whatever, right?
Let's see here. The mind reader works in 1955. The way he tried on Marty, you know, because he did come from a great distance, obviously. And he was like, "Oh, you want a donation to the subscription to Saturday evening?" You know, because the flyer that is in his pocket was the Saturday Evening Post and donation for the clock tower, and he just assumed it was the young Navy because he had his life preserver on, right?
Yeah.
So all his predictions were
Good
correct.
bit. Good joke.
George had a little help beating Biff from Biff himself. So in Back to the Future 2, when we revisit the Enchantment of the Sea Dance, it shows George like late. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I lost track of time. There's also a scene in that movie where Biff is spiking the punch. And George is seen drinking the punch in the first movie. Maybe you got a little bit of liquid courage.
So that makes sense.
You know?
I buy that.
So, and Biff wouldn't have been, and he wouldn't have spiked it originally because the only reason he was drinking and angry was because all the mess to the car that he had to pay for, at $300 to his car. So he was pissed. You know what I mean? And so without that, he would have just, well, let's get to the reason why Lorraine drinks. You know, if George didn't intervene, you know, Biff was in the car with her.
So
alone.
you think she's got some like trauma that she's working through?
Yes. And the fact that George couldn't, you know, I think, yeah. I don't want to get too, too heavy in this, but
it's pretty fucked up though in 1985 in the sequel, right? That like Biff has George killed. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We never talked about why Biff went back to November 12th, 1955.
Why is that?
Well, one, because he had just overheard, the manure. I remember that. He knew exactly where he would be in 1955. Also, he remembered Lorraine saying, "I wouldn't marry you even if you had $1 million," because he was obsessed with her.
Sure.
And like, you know what? If I had this money, maybe she would actually, maybe she'd actually be into me then. And then I guess another easy answer would be that it was one of the times that were already punched in. So he just, not that he would know how to work it. Anyways, but that's neither here nor there.
That seems like the most plausible theory, though, I'd say.
Let's see what else we got here.
You didn't bring any tinfoil hats?
Yeah.
I guess not, no.
That would have been fun.
Can I position the two Martys theory?
Oh, the multiple Martys.
Or yeah, multiple Martys.
So, well, just in 1955, let's not forget there's four time machines on November 12th, 1955 in Hill Valley. There's the original one that Marty went in the first one, right? There's the one that Biff drove to from the future to 1955. There's the DeLorean that Doc and Marty came in from alternate 1985 to 1955. And then there's the fourth one, which is in the old abandoned mine.
Oh, yeah.
1885.
Very interesting.
But with the multiple Marty. So Marty probably died a couple of times.
You think?
Let me explain.
Okay.
The two biggest examples that I have is one, when he's the tunnel showdown with Biff, Doc dropped that line exactly when he needed to, right when he needed to, because Biff ran Marty over. Two, Marty jumped off the roof. Marty jumped off the roof, and he knew that Doc had a time machine that he could come back and save him. You know what I mean? The only other example I have is in the first one, he gets crushed by the bookshelf after the amp explodes. And that's why he called, "Oh, by the way." But that doesn't really hold too much water, I don't think. What else we got here?
So we're positioning then in that sequence, those sequences that Doc keeps like traveling back in time to let Marty know, kind of like Bill and Ted style, like jump off at this point. I'm going to drop a flare.
Or just he does the things and...
I think he just does it and saves him because Marty knows that Doc will be there for him. Biff gets into detailing after he crashed into manure.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Doc was suicidal, which is why he tried to one off the Libyans, and also that's why the car was driving right at him, and he was surprised when it actually worked.
Yeah, maybe.
George knew that Marty was a time traveler. He calls him Dad 3 times. And he saw Marty disappearing and knew what he had to do. You know? Let's see. Do I have anything else here about fan theories?
Yeah. I could see some of that holding water, some of it.
Marvin as a time traveler. Also, his guitar that he was playing is not available until 1963.
Ah.
I'm sure that's just,
Yeah, bad cataloging, right?
Now, here's something that I don't really have an answer to. In the beginning of the movie, when all those clocks were like 25 minutes slow, why? It's never really explained. The only thing that I have here is that, let's see here, where was it? A time experiment left by Doc, possible time slowing area, which would explain why Marty didn't know that he was late. He showed up, where he thought he was supposed to be. He thought he had enough time to jam before school. He's like, "You're telling me it's 8:25?" Like,
I do love that they have auditions in the morning.
Got to.
Why?
You just have to, man. Just have to.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I have is, Doc kills alternate Marty. Okay, so at the end of Back to the Future 1, when Marty shows up early to see himself travel back in time,
Yep.
Doc knew that Marty would be back because he had met him 30 years earlier. That's why he wore the bulletproof vest, right?
Sure.
That Marty that existed because of his parents meeting the way they did now wouldn't be the same Marty. He would be like, upper class, maybe pompous, and like not as scrappy as he needed this Marty to be to actually help and save the universe, so to speak, right?
Sure. So this is kind of goes into the two Martys theory that I've always kind of subscribed to. Are you familiar with this?
No.
So I mean, that's the whole idea, is that when he comes back, he sees another Marty going back in time.
Mm-hmm.
So we presume this has to be a different Marty because he grew up in a different timeline than the original Marty. So, because it's not like you replace yourself when you come back. You just, but like I know the movie is probably playing with the idea of like, well, it's just him going on his adventure here and now, right? But I guess I always subscribe to this, and this is how you close the loop a little bit. Every little thing that Marty does, every little thing sets off a chain reaction, right? Whether he picks up a bottle cap or whether he's like, pushes, his dad out of the way in the road or whatever, everything. My theory, or the way I've always described, is that the Martys are always constantly changing time. And so they never run into each other, and they're always creating variations of a future. So they're never able to run into each other because they're always going back in time. They're always changing something just enough that they are altering the timeline. So they're coming back to a totally different time. And it just is just a constant changing loop. Like that Marty's going to come back to a slightly different 1985. And he's going to see a different Marty who goes back to a different 1985. You know what I mean? It's like there's probably so many branches. It's like Loki, right? Like, there's just all these different branches.
So does that mean that at some point Marty's going to go back to 1955 when he originally left and be like 43 years old, but still 17 because he's gone through all these adventures? He's still going to age. You know what I mean? He's not timeless. He's still going, whether he's in 1955 for a week, he still aged that week.
Sure.
If he's going to keep traveling, keep coming back, he's going to be like 92. And Jennifer's like, damn, Marty, what the hell?
Yeah. I don't know, but I think then it becomes a different 1955 depending on whenever that first Marty comes back, because he's going to change something else and change something else. And he's going to push his dad in one way or a different way, and it's going to like knock like into a car or something like that. And someone's going to get a car accident, and that's going to send somebody to jail who was supposed to go to jail or whatever.
Butterfly
right?
effect.
Like, exactly. So I'm like, I think that's how you write off that whole idea. That's all I have to say about that.
Hey.
Another Robert Zemeckis movie. But no, they're very interesting theories. I guess the only other thing I wanted to position, because I wrote it down in the notes, unless you guys have other coulda, woulda, shouldas that you want to present.
I really don't.
No, nothing really.
So I don't think any of us wanted them to make another one.
No reboot.
Yeah.
The thing is, a sequel maybe, but Michael J. Fox I don't think is fit to be acting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So then why do it? If it doesn't have Michael J. Fox, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
No, I agree. If Stoltz had finished this movie and they still drew forth, and there was an Eric Stoltz project, do we have the sequels? Or is this become a weird movie that had a lot of shit that worked except some performance, like one performance in particular that was like, this is kind of weird.
I really don't think that it would be as big if it didn't have Michael J. Fox in it. If it was Eric Stoltz instead, I don't think it would have been a hit.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Like maybe this gets a legacy sequel after becoming like a cult hit or something like that over
Sure.
time.
Or I think there's still sequels or sequel, but because they made sequels to shit that was, not super successful, but just mildly successful. I just think as a whole, it would not be the phenomenon it is today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really. I was just curious what you guys thought about.
The only other thing I have for like a sequel or anything is, let's see Doc's 6 months in the Old West.
Mm.
You know, I don't think much happened, but I think it'd be interesting, even if it was just a short, or a mini series or something like that. I think it'd be interesting to see a man of science from the future in the Old West.
Or the animated series where it's just Doc and his kids like going around or whatever.
Is that what that is?
It's some kind of dumb bullshit. It's like a really stupid concept from what I remember. That's kind of why I didn't really want to talk about it. Like, it's not canon. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Movie released May 25th, 1990. 245 million made in that.
No drop off, but still a lot of money, especially since that's all profit.
Yeah.
I think at some point, though, you're going to lose people in the sequel runs here. That's going to be it. Shall we get into power rankings here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Power rankings this week. Top 3 scenes from the trilogy. Mike, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. Do you want me to mention? Do you want me to do some honorable mentions first?
You do whatever you want to do.
So my honorable mentions, I got a few of them here. The Mad Dog shootout. It's great. It's fun. It's got the callback.
The duel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure.
The Johnny Be Good scene at the enchantment. That's fun. It kind of does stop the movie, but it's got enough energy. It's fun. It's fun. Let's see here. Back to the Future scene. Okay, so I have the original Back to the Future scene as one of my honorable mentions. It's not my top, but it's definitely up there for sure. Like the end of the first movie. And then I have the last scene with the P kid, with the train, because it's a nice moment. But my top 3 scenes, I'll do a third first, is the first time that Marty travels to 1955 to Peabody Farm, because it's great. It's he's running from the Libyans. Doc just died, so he's already all stressed out. The second I have is the end of Back to the Future 2, where I got a letter for you. Either that because there's only one man that can help me now, and then you get to see the best part of the first movie again, and. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, Doc, I know you just sent me back to the future, but I'm back. I'm back from the future. That's great. But my number one absolute favorite scene in the Back to the Future movies is the scene where George knocks the crap out of Biff.
Yeah.
It's that good score, the big build up, and then he's like, what are you doing? And then I think he took his wallet. I think he took your wallet. I think he took your wallet.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so those are my top 3 there.
It's a great one. It's a great one.
What do y'all think?
It's good.
Love it. I mean, those are iconic scenes. They're amazing. Fred, do you want me to go next? Or you want to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm gonna say a great scene is the beginning of the movie up through the Power of Love needle drop, just like that chunk. The clocks. There is like a lot of like little Easter eggs of the plot kind of laid in that first chunk.
Yeah,
there's the plutonium. There's all the stuff. I think there's a news report going on about the clock tower, maybe.
Yeah.
So, and then just going into him, doing the thing where he's grabbing the car with the needle drop is great. I mentioned it before, but in 2, where he's trying to get back the sports almanac from Biff, I think that's the tensest, most like suspenseful scene.
Yeah, when he's trying to not get beat up and also not be seen by his other self or by his parents.
Well, that will be my number one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That scene where there's two Martys with Johnny B. Good going. I'm saying when he's following Biff on the hoverboard through the tunnel.
He's like holding onto the car. Yeah.
Yes, and it's playing with the mirrors. There's the moment where you think Biff didn't see him, but he did see him. When he opens the passenger door and he's like reaching for it. All that stuff is good. The looping around the tunnel. I love all that.
Yeah. It's a great thing. Especially, when he's like stuck like up shit creek without a paddle. Okay, and then number one is
the going back to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance where he's crawling on top of the catwalk and he drops the sandbag and all that stuff. It's perfect timing.
I know. It is funny where he's got to act like he doesn't know, and then like Doc's like giving himself advice too. Like, it's like, you sure I need this wrench? Pretty sure. Those are great picks. I do love that whole sequence where he is kind of moving around and like Zane and friends are trying to get him. I just love me some Zane in this. I'll echo a lot of the ones you guys mentioned already. I already mentioned the duel is one of my favorites. I love him doing, because it's such a tense thing. You're like, how is Marty going to possibly get out of this? He has to know he's not a quicker draw than this dude. Second scene, I'll probably say, is when he goes to visit George in his like hazmat suit.
Oh,
and he's like, my name is Darth Vader from planet Vulcan. It's just him. I love whenever Marty drops some references that he knows nobody has any context or reference for. Obviously just Johnny B. Good. The music scene is so iconic. Like, it's hard not to pick that one. That'd probably be my honorable mention. But I think my number one then probably is, I think I just love that train at the end of 3. I love
a good scene
because it's so tense of them trying to like, he like shoots him the hoverboard and he like just lands on it just in time, and like also, Doc like
looks crazy as shit, dude. Like,
it's so funny seeing Christopher Lloyd trying to like get used to being on the hoverboard. So it's just funny. Then he kind of floats off into like into the ravine or whatever. I'm like, that thing just kind of dropped, but it doesn't matter. It's movie, it's romance, and then he comes back with the train, and it's fun. It's a great series. So that's it for our Power Rankings, and guys, that's it for our episode. I think we've said a lot about Back to the Future, but we got a little bit more to say before we let everyone go. Anything you would like to plug before we leave you, Mike?
Support your local theater. Go see some movies. Go to the theater and go see some movies, because movies are the only place you can go and sit in a theater and turn off your electronics and see something new.
Seriously.
Like, take a break from reality, go see a movie.
Yep.
If y'all need some pet sitting, me and my fiance do mobile pet sitting. We, in-house sitting, overnights, daycare, whatever y'all need. You can email me at MikeSchwantz@outlook.com. That's MikeSchwantz@outlook.com. Other than that, I think that's it for me for plugs.
Perfect. Yeah, great with pets. Seen it up close and in person. So definitely give Mike and Jasmine a call if you ever need those services, which are called pet sitting for your peace of mind. Fred, I know you got some stuff you want to plug.
Ooh, tonight, go see Fractal and Father Figures. Double dose of the Fred, a single dose, but a mighty dose of the Tom. I'll be hosting that show that night, so a lot of me. So get it in. Tickets are going kind of fast.
Tickets are going very fast. Obviously, big return tonight. Father Figures on the schedule once more. We're back. It's exciting. Fred, and a lot of you tonight. I think it's going to be great. I think you're going to do an awesome job. Obviously, if you were listening to this after the fact, keep an eye out. If there's more Father Figures in the future, we might have some stuff coming. We'll talk about it. But
you already said if Joe's willing, you're willing. So that's, and Joe already told me he's willing. So
listen, there's probably going to be some more Father Figures. But either way, if you are listening to this on August 29th, 2025, please come see us tonight, 7:30, Interchange Theater. It's interchangetheater.com for tickets.
Yeah, and I'll also say September 6th and September 27th, you can see me perform at the Interchange Theater. So 3 dates in September. Well, I guess the last one's in August, but it's like the last day of August. So
I was gonna say, getting into Labor Day weekend here.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you are listening just over the Labor Day weekend, you missed the show, no problem. Like I said, we'll keep you posted on future dates. You can go and see Fred at the end of September. Should be some great stuff coming up. I know, Mike, you're going to be in some shows too. Certainly, we'll keep you posted on some of those kind of goings on, but please check your local listings and, support your local arts and support your local theater. Interchangetheater.com has what you're looking for. If you are looking for more from Show Me the Franchise, though, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube. We're still dropping some episodes over there. So if you're listening on there, cool. Nice job. Love you. And if you are interested in joining our Patreon, $1 per month right now, we are talking about all sorts of interesting content over there. Some really good bonus episodes, if I do say so myself. We have one bonus episode per month, so please sign up if you are interested. A lot of great stuff. Next time, we're talking about Ecto Cooler. Ooh, what does that mean? You have to listen
Ghostbusters
to-
back to Huey Lewis.
Nay.
Yeah.
I want a new drug.
He deserved to win that lawsuit. Special thanks to Nick Spitza and Mike Schwantz for our opening and closing themes. We guys have been rolling with those two theme songs since the Taskmaster episode. Yeah. It's I know. I'm like, man, it really has been a while since we recorded that one.
Mhm.
Good. It was a good one though.
It was about time we got Mike back.
Yeah. I mean, was that the last time you were here for Taskmaster?
Yeah.
Yeah, because before that was Curb.
Oh, wow. So we're talking a couple of years then, probably at this point.
I think so.
And stay tuned for next time where we'll be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And all I got to say about that one, guys, is cowabunga. Should be a great time. Thank you again for joining us, Mike.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Take it easy, y'all. I got no cares, cause all I wanna do is charge my phone and drive listening to you. And what they talk about will always be up to you.
I was early.